we're back. Episode 48. Welcome back to the Quick Hands Rugby League podcast here with myself and George. Unfortunately, Artie's not with us for a couple of weeks. He's gallivanting in Hawaii with the family, but we do have a very special guest on hand tonight. We've got Troy from the Parra Cave podcast. Welcome, Troy.
Thank you very much, fellas, for having me aboard tonight.
The pleasure is all ours. And the best part is that finally I've got George outnumbered now. I'm not wearing my Eels jacket. So there's a wardrobe malfunction there. But it's 2-on-1, George. You've got nowhere to run tonight.
Oh, no. I've got my partner in crime. I'm gone. He always... Troy, you've probably heard the pod, but... Artie always supports me because I can't remember any rugby league names. I can't pronounce them either. Okay, and he usually jumps in. So, hey, Troy, feel free. Feel free.
Yeah.
Troy, do you want to tell us a little bit about the Parra Cave podcast? Give a bit of a plug and tell us what you do and let our listeners know.
It's been going for about 3 years now. A little bit more content now these days with a tipping podcast and a round review each week on community radio. Just an interview-based podcast each week where I try and interview former player or coach or...
You got a pretty special guest tomorrow, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Brian Smith, former Eels coach, Newcastle, Sydney Roosters, St George, 4 grand finals in Australia.
Yeah.
Unfortunately lost them all, especially 2001. But
I think 3 of them were to Wayne, weren't they? To Wayne Bennett. 2 with the Broncos correct. And 1, with the Dragons.
Yes. So, so really looking forward to bringing that one out. But like you guys, it's a great fun to do and
good stuff. Yeah. And where can we find you?
Spotify, Apple, pretty much any other reputable.
All the usual.
Yeah, all the usual where you guys are found.
And Nicola, I consume most of Troy's content, and I said it before when we had him on the show. Outstanding.
Yeah, we had Troy on and off the bench episode as well. So look that one up, guys, if you haven't seen it already. Love the background.
Yeah, thanks.
It was tragic. It feels so good having George outnumbered tonight.
And apparently it's a very heavy Parramatta show.
Oh, we've got a bit of everything. We've first of all, round 20 is where, George?
It's in the can, Nicola. It's in the can.
Round 20 is in the can.
It's in the can.
But before we do that, we should probably touch on Origin 3 because we haven't...
Before we move on, Nicola.
Yep.
Last week's episode was very well received, and look, you expect our listeners to be on the eastern seaboard, of course. We've got a few in interstate, but mostly on the eastern seaboard, New Zealand. We're getting, for some unknown reason, we're getting a big presence, as you know, in France.
Yeah.
Of course, because of Lorraine, we know a
French player,
a French rugby league player who plays in Super League. She's spreading the word. But India, believe it or not, India, the boy one day is telling me is going through the roof. So
they're not mistaking us for a cricket podcast.
I don't know what it is, Nicola, but India spiked crazy. Look, we have some in some England, a few in America, but the last couple of weeks, India has gone off the rocker. The boy went to tells me. So, like I said, if we're giving anyone some entertainment, that's what. All our pods are. That's what the name of the game is. Last Saturday we went and saw your brother Nicola, my brother-in-law, with his new band or his
new
band,
album,
the new album launch. And I should have done this off air. Sorry, guys. You know the guitar he was strumming.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that the same one you bought?
It's not the same one, but so just to recap, Department of Gloom new album. Check it out. It's awesome. You get it on Spotify. Those guitars came from a good friend of ours, Charles Celia.
Charlie built them. No wonder they're good.
So I'm going to give Charles a bit of a plug here. Good mate of ours, listens to the podcast. Bulldog's tragic, like yourself, George.
Yeah.
I've known Charles a very long time now. Celia Guitars, custom-made guitars. Amazing work. Look it up. I've got the details here. CeliaGuitars.com. That's CILIA guitars.com. You can send them an email at info@celiaguitars.com, or you can give them a call on 02 9726 6271. look it up. They're custom made. You'll be waiting a while because there's a long waiting list. And he's got some amazing pieces there in the workshop.
I know I should have done that off air, but it just came to me now. So sorry, Nicola.
No, that's all right. We get to give Charles a plug at the same time.
Prepared.
Oh no, he's prepared for everything. This guy.
Yeah.
It was very different when we had you on last time, Troy. It was just me and Artie, and he's usually the ringmaster, so it must have been very clunky, but he'll keep us on track. Don't worry.
So Department of Gloom, check it out. YouTube, Spotify, etc. Now let's talk Origin 3. Guys, what did you think?
Troy.
Well, it was good for New South Wales to get a win, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And stop Queensland going 3-0.
Yeah.
I thought, it was going to be not New South Wales night with Queensland, I think, scoring the first 2 tries, I think. Getting away to that lead. And then I thought, oh, no, here we go again. But New South Wales, they dug deep and Josh Adokar scored a great try and they got the win in front of their home fans, which is great.
Did Freddie get it right with selections this time around, or was it something else?
Maybe not Gutho's selection, I don't think.
You know, it's funny. For a second, I thought Gutho's going to have the dubious distinction of being the only State of Origin player who never touched the ball, but then he caught it right on the final siren. So he avoided that. He was on the field for under 3 minutes.
Aaron Raper didn't even get on the field.
Yeah.
Guy.
Yeah.
Got to feel for him, eh?
But
Look,
yeah, probably
Tommy.
the Gutho one was probably a bit of a strange one, I thought.
Nicola, did he get the run on team right? I think it was pretty well balanced. We talked about that originally, so I think he did get the run on team right. I don't know, not sure about the bench. Okay, then the other thing is that they actually showed some passion.
Cody Walker was outstanding.
Now, you know what? That's interesting. Everybody's going on about Cody Walker. What did he do that night, which he hasn't done the last 3 years? He goes to the line, okay, and he just waits.
But he unlocked Best and Adokar.
Well, here we go. And let me tell you about Best. And you know, Artie, I'll tell you, you know what? I've got to give him his credit. He's not here, and I hope he doesn't hear this, okay? Because I can't give him
He's
this much credit.
He's going to hear it.
Okay. Artie's got a really, really good eye for youngsters.
Yeah.
He told me about Best years and years ago, and I just looked at him as a normal NRL player, okay. But when you put him in that environment, okay, with surrounded with outstanding rugby league players, okay, he's the real deal. Now, unfortunately, next year Latrell and Tommy's going to come back and probably not make the team, which is a mistake.
I don't know about. I'm not too confident about Tommy.
No.
I think his better days might be behind him.
Tommy maybe, but Latrell definitely.
Well, he was sort of injured the first all series too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was,
So if Latrell was fit, would you have Latrell or would you have Best?
Well, they're different
Latrell and
positions.
Best.
They're different positions.
Good call. Good call.
But there's only one thing I hate more than when we start talking Origin at the start of the season, and that's when we start talking about it the year before.
Yeah.
They're already talking about next season. Cleary doesn't have a mortgage on the number 7 because of how Moses went. What were your thoughts on that?
I'm so proud of. Can I just go? I'm so proud of Mitch, and I'll tell you why. We talked about who's going to have the keys to the castle, and I suggested
Cody.
Cody had to have the keys to the castle, and I thought maybe Mitch's pride would come into it because Cleary at Parramatta, Mitch has got the keys to the castle.
Yeah,
he runs the show. Okay, he's got a lot of support around him, but there's no doubt that he runs the show. Okay, he played the best second fiddle with no angst. He kicked well, he ran well, and I'm so proud of him.
That's one thing we spoke about, that we thought he didn't run the ball enough in Game 2, but in Game 3, he really took the line on. I mean, he didn't make any line breaks, but he hit the line hard. He ran the ball and he defended. Well, his defence was awesome.
His defence has really stepped up, and
his defence was so good.
It showed in 2 games in a row. Obviously, the Origin game and the Titans game.
Yeah,
marking up against David Fifita.
He was outstanding.
He cut him in half.
Yeah. So his defence is out of mind now.
He's not a small halfback either. Mitch isn't a small halfback, but you know what? Let's not spend too much time on because it seems a year ago. Let's not spend too much time on the Orange team. What I can say is that thank God we won, and thank God we didn't get swept. Okay, and I'm more happier or more confident if I see Cleary in the coach's box with Freddie. I'm much more happy to see that
Yeah.
than just Freddie, because you know what, Freddie's not going to get sacked. I bet
Well, I
you
was
money.
about to say
think he'll be back.
before we wrap up Origin, should Freddie be there next season?
No.
Troy, what do you think?
I think he'll be back next year, probably because they won. But then again, it could be just up to him whether he wants the job.
I know he does.
Does he?
I know he does. I mean, he said it. Personally, I mean, I was a bit. For me, I think I'd give him a 1 year deal, and everything would depend on that. I'd be happy to give him a 1 year deal for next season, because I think they do it in 2 or 3 year. They do it in 3 year cycles.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to give him a 1 year deal and see what he does. I think he might have learnt from some. He made some blunders this season with selections. We know that, but I think he got it right in game 3, and I'd be happy to have him go around one more time and judge him off that.
Troy, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think he'll have one more year.
One more year.
Just to see how they go. If they win the series, then maybe another year extension,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know. Who would come in? Do
Well,
you think
that's
if-
the
if it-
question
if
as
it's
well.
not
I mean-
Fittler? I mean,
We talked about that last week
Yeah.
as well.
yeah, there was talk that Ricky Stewart might come in if and Canberra will give him permission to do it.
Yeah.
Do you need a club coach to do Origin? Do you need a standalone coach to do Origin? I don't know what the answer is there.
You know what? I think this talk is null and void, because I think you guys are right. I think he's going to have another year. As long as Ivan's there, I'm happy.
Yeah, Ivan really played down. He just said he was a witness sitting in the box, but I've got a feeling he
Yeah,
had a
I
little
think
bit
he
more
did more
involvement
than
than that.
that.
And you know what? It's good. It's actually good that Freddie wasn't shy about doing that either.
Yeah, good.
Bringing
good.
someone in with him
Good.
who, you know, obviously with the pedigree of Ivan Cleary, perhaps it helped, perhaps it didn't. I'm
No,
not
good.
sure, but I
Oh,
like
I'm
the fact
sure
as
it
well that
helped.
they
I'm
had all
sure
the
it helped.
players that were either cut from the squad or didn't make it. The ones close to the group, they had them there as well.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
That was a good show of unity. They were all there to support the team on. You know, Hines and Paulo and all those guys who didn't make the cut.
You just couldn't hear from him.
Yeah. Yeah.
No interviews.
No interview.
No,
Well,
that's right. I know.
Well,
God.
Yeah, that's another topic we touched on last week, Troy. I don't want to go back there
But I
again.
don't think there's been any progress, has there?
There's been no progress, Nicola, because no one's talking. No one's talking to each other. And like I said, there's a bunch of, may I say, big dicks trying to swing and you know what I mean? Just get around the table. Let's finish this, because
Yeah.
it's just a power play. Both sides are trying to get more power, trying to get more power, trying to get just sit around. It's you know, you're hurting people, and you know what? You're not hurting people, because we don't care about interviews. We just want to watch the game. So you know what? If they interview, no, really, is it really missing? Are we really missing? Troy?
Maybe the after game interviews possibly.
You like them?
Yeah, the ones at halftime, they can be
No,
a
I
bit
hate
rough.
that.
What
I
I
hate
what,
those
what I
ones.
can't stand is when they interview them walking off the field and they're out of
halftime
breath.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And it was funny how, did you notice Danica Mason did that with Paul Gallen?
Yeah,
Because they couldn't do it with any players.
I noticed.
That was pretty funny.
I noticed.
that was pretty
those
funny.
things. I
And
noticed.
another little funny thing was at I think it was halftime or full time. I think it was halftime. Jermaine Hopgood has just given Clint Gutherson a little shoulder as they've gone up the tunnel. Queensland versus New South Wales. And
Well, they had the
Parra
same.
mates.
They got the same game time, didn't they?
yeah,
Basically.
That was fun. That was good.
Let's move into controversy corner, where we break down some of the issues in the game. Pretty hard to avoid the Tigers this week. Let's call it I've had to make some notes, because there was a 12-minute interview, which I don't know if you guys saw it or not, on NRL 360. So the Tigers chairman, Lee Hedgepentalis, I've had to make some notes because there was so much there. But basically, I mean, the Tigers, they're in a mess at the moment, right?
Yeah.
And Lee Hedgepentalis is the chairman. He's also the major sponsor of the club. He's a lawyer.
Which is a
He's
problem.
an attorney,
Yep.
Bryden's Lawyers.
Which is a problem.
Justin Pascoe, the CEO, reports to him. I don't know if you guys actually saw the interview. He
I saw
dressed
it.
like Al Capone. I'm not sure what
the big fedora hat.
the go is with the fedora hat and all that. But to me, it just sounded like he lawyered up. It sounded like he was making a statement on behalf of the club that he was defending in a lawsuit or something. And he kept referring back to the board. So What were your guys' initial thoughts on that?
Troy, what do you
Well,
got for me?
my first thought was when they were talking about Justin Pascoe and when Lee said, "Oh, yeah, the board has Justin has the full support of the board," and I thought, "Oh no, he's in trouble." 'cause
Whenever you hear that,
whenever you hear that, it's a couple of weeks or a month later.
he was so careful with his lawyer speak as well.
yeah.
Like when one of them asked him, "So is Justin going to be there next year?" And I think he said something like, well, I've got the notes, but he said something like, no, they said, "Can you guarantee Justin will be there next year?" And he said, "No."
Yeah.
He said, "I never guarantee anyone's employment," right? But he's under contract. So you can guarantee the length of a contract because that's what he's contracted for. And if the contract's broken, it's no different to any other deal that's broken. These days, contracts have clauses in them in case the two parties agree to terminate early.
Nicola, I thought that Pascal was the issue. Okay, guess what? We just saw on Monday on 360 who and what the problem is.
Yeah.
It's Pangelis, whatever his name is. Okay.
Hadji Pantelis, yeah.
I looked at him. He looked like a clown. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't believe a word that came out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Okay. He's probably the one who brought in Fulton. Okay, and why the F would you bring someone in without discussing with your supposedly long-term coach? And you know what? The only one in that place, and they're trying to get rid of him, is Tim Sheens, who's the only one who's got any pedigree about rugby league. Okay, how many comps has he got under his belt? How many rugby league players has he made? Okay, and they're not listening to him. Okay, and it's obviously there's a power struggle going on. And Pangel, forget the board. The board just takes information in. Now, if they've got a power struggle in the board, West Tigers and
the board is a faceless ghost at the moment. Who is the board? Who are we talking about? Like,
well, it's members of the West.
Yes, but he defaults to it like when he's got nowhere else to go.
Yeah,
the board.
Yeah, it's him. And I'll tell you why the board. And let's get real, okay? Because they're equal amount from West and they're not, but West and Balmain, okay. At the moment, West Ashfield and West Campbelltown have got all the money. Okay, they put the money in.
Yeah,
okay. You do know Balmain put, if not zero, very minimal money.
Well, they got no money. They got no lease club. Their lease club was at 5 Dock Bowling Club in 5 Dock Park, and that closed down as well.
Okay, so. Guess what?
Yeah.
There's no power struggle because the power, we know where the power is there.
Well, if West wanted to, they could literally revert back to West Magpies. The reason they won't do it is because they've spent 23 years building a new brand. There's a new generation of supporters who only know the West Tigers and they're looking forwards, not backwards.
And you know what? For some unknown reason, they actually listened to Pangelis, where his name is.
Hadji
Pantelis. Can we call it, what's his first name?
Lee.
They listened to Lee. Okay, and they believe Lee, and Lee is pulling all the strings there. You can tell from the conversation.
Well, he's the chairman.
So he's
the chairman of the club.
Also the major sponsor too. Yeah. So that's a big problem too. Yeah. If anything happens to him, he'll pull the major sponsor.
Yeah, he said he can't guarantee Pascoe's employment due to potential legal ramifications, but I'm of the opinion that you can guarantee someone who's under contract because that's an employment contract, right? So it's like any other. It's like saying, it's like. They always revert back to the, when asked about Tim Sheens, well, that's what his contract says. Well, how's Pascoe any different? He's under a contract as well. Yeah. So,
you know what? He might mean well, but because of his actions, those wooden spoons that he keeps on hanging up on the new place of excellence, you know what I mean? Who's going to hang him up for the next decade?
He contradicted himself on several occasions. Do you guys? I don't think there's anything to the whole Benji Marshall 15% ownership in the thing. Do you guys write into that at all?
No, not really.
Not Benji.
I don't. Yeah,
not Benji.
I think it all started going wrong when they did that. Benji Marshall, head coach in 2025.
Yeah,
guaranteed. And then they put the wrong player or something up on the centre of excellence. That was,
they put Benji Marshall, St George Dragons.
That's right.
At the West Tigers home ground.
Centre of excellence.
Come on.
You know what? It's a ravel. It's a ravel. And the issue is that Benji, and Tim is trying really hard to do the right thing. They're trying. You
And
can
Tim's
tell.
protecting Benji by taking all the bullets so that Benji doesn't have to talk.
And Fulton. Who's Fulton compared to these people we're talking about?
Well, I mean, let's touch on all these points. So first of all, just going back to the Benji thing. Now, Pascoe and Hadjipantalis, let's call him Lee because it's just easier, met with Justin Holbrook, who just got sacked from Newcastle, without consulting with Tim Sheens and Benji Marshall.
Didn't he say anything to him? I thought something was said.
No. Now what he said. Now what he said.
Second time now.
What he said in that interview. He said Justin's role, not Justin Holbrook, Justin Pascoe.
Yeah.
I don't want to confuse everyone. Pascoe's role is to look at the market and see if there's anything there potentially that could help us, which is why he met with Justin Holbrook. And don't get me wrong, I think Holbrook would be a good addition to Benji, and Sheens could go back to his operations role. Except that they didn't talk to them about it. Yeah. And you've got Tim Sheens, Benji Marshall, Robbie Farah, and David Ferner. How many more coaches do you want?
You do realise it's a power play. I can do it, you can't.
Yeah.
And that's the sickening part of it.
And with the whole Scott Fulton thing, we've spoken about this a few times now. So Scott Fulton was brought in. Now, he said in the interview that night, Scott Fulton's job is to recruit players that Benji wants, right?
Okay, good.
Well, then why don't you speak to Benji before you hire him and make sure everyone's on the same page and they've got the same vision, same values? Because you recruit players not just on ability, but on values, on
Character.
Culture fit.
Yeah.
It's the same way you recruit in any organisation, right? I don't look at people's resumes when I interview people. I just want to speak to them for an hour.
Yeah.
And I want to see if they're going to fit the team, you know. Now, Lee actually said in that interview, there's no correlation between that incident and all this hoopla at the moment. what planet are you on? Seriously. I don't know. It's just me, guys. That's how I see it.
No, it's a circus. It's a, they might as well be called the Stardust Tigers or something like that.
He's right.
It is a massive
It's
circus.
embarrassing.
When they asked him if
embarrassing.
Benji and Scott Fulton get along, and I'm going to quote here exactly what he said. He said, their relationship is professional, it's civil and polite, which is another way of saying they don't get along. Right? But you know what? You don't have to get along to work together as well, right? But it's always good to start relationships off with a bit of courtesy and respect, you know, and keeping everyone in the loop. I mean, it's so disjointed at the moment. There's factions. I mean, the players must be so confused.
Of course they're confused. And you know what? It shows up in their play. Because if you forget about winning, okay, let's look at effort. Just effort. If everything's okay, you give effort. But if you feel some sort of pressure on the training ground, and there's no doubt when Benji comes in, he might try to leave it on the doorstep. But they pick up on it. Players are not stupid. They pick up on everything. Okay, well they're going to produce what they produce. A load of crap.
Now, apparently, Benji did a presentation to the club yesterday about what his vision is, what his plan is, where he wants to go, and they were all very impressed by it, which doesn't surprise me at all. But the media is always there, ready to jump as well. That's not, there's always someone fueling the fire. But what the people in the media are saying, well, can you share that with the fans and the members because they'd like to know too.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah. It's just so factionalized at the moment.
It's been 10 years, Nicola. It's been 10 years, and the only constant is those two guys.
Yes, that's correct.
It's been 10 years.
How many coaches, how many players, how many signings, and then he goes, again, he contradicted himself, and maybe I got it wrong, but from what I saw, he said, the board makes the final decision on players and all that. But then 5 minutes later, he said that decision rests with the head coach. Well, which one is it? Because they're not talking to each other. And since when does the board deal with the coach about signing? When does the board sign a player?
Oh, I don't know. I've never heard of.
I've not heard of that.
Probably only if it's like $1 million contract or something like that.
Maybe they'd want to see a business case put in front of them. But when do members of the board go out and recruit players?
It's always the coach's job.
Now, he also said Scott Fulton's one of the best recruiters in the game. What do you guys think about that?
Troy,
He's
tell
been
me.
doing the job for
Yeah.
3.5 minutes.
What's he? Talk to me, Troy.
Well,
talk to me.
he tried to get Schuster over to the Tigers.
For 1.2 million.
Yeah, exactly. 1.2 million.
He looks every part of 300,000 shoes at the
But
moment.
they, but they keep talking about, well, look at what he's done at Manly. And I'm like, well, what's he done? I mean, they're not going too well. And I see a bunch of overpaid players who are underperforming, Schuster included. He's just re-signed for $800K.
Yeah.
$800K.
By the way, Penrith Junior.
Is he?
It's not too hard.
He played in the Parra Juniors as well.
Is it Parra Junior? Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, he played-
I'm sorry. Is it playing that Blacktown team?
He was in the same team as Stefano. I can never pronounce his last name.
Utukamanu.
Yep.
You're
And,
the man. You're the man.
And another forward as well who escapes me right now. But there were three of them playing together in the Parra Juniors.
Okay.
Now, he might have come from Penrith. I don't know.
Was it Olakawatu as well?
Possibly. I can't remember now. Yeah.
Do you have those all in the juniors? Wow. Yeah, no, well, there's a Blacktown team,
Yeah.
which they go around and get
It's
cream of the
Penrith
crop.
and
let's
Parra.
say.
It's the same kind of area. It's the same kind of
So I was going to say, it's not too hard to go out to the western suburbs of Sydney and find good cattle, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So I don't know what he's done.
For me, the jury's still out on Schuster whether I'd consider him good cattle or not. 800K. I mean, people were shit canning Mitchell Moses for jumping from 850 to 1.125 or whatever it is. This guy is getting 800,000 for what?
Yeah.
It's done nothing.
For what exactly? You
He's
know?
not winning games for Manly.
No.
Yeah. He's actually a liability, if you ask me.
Then there's the Luke Brooks conversation.
Oh, Luke.
Which again, if you ask me, I think they're better without him because it's time for a change on both sides. That's my opinion. But they were pressing the chairman about why he was given 3 days to make a decision, and he was arguing that it was longer than that. What I've found out from looking at it myself is that they tabled an offer to him 4 or 5 days before that Thursday, where on that Thursday they said you have until Sunday to make a decision. So they did put a 3-day deadline on it. And in the same interview, he kept saying, no, it's not true, it's not true, it's not true. And then 5 minutes later, they asked him again, well, why'd you give him a 3-day deadline? He said, because we wanted an answer. Well, which one is it?
Again, Nicola, I think we found out, or we saw in front of our eyes, the problem with West Tigers. I think we saw the problem.
He actually said, and you can see it on Fox Sports, or I'm sure it's on YouTube as well, or on 360 if you've got KO or whatever, Fox. He actually said, well, how long does it take to make a decision? We put an offer down in good faith. Well, the guy's been there for a decade. Maybe it takes more than a week. I mean, Moses went on for months.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot involved, and you're pressuring him to make a decision.
You know what? Good luck to him. Like I said, they can have the wooden spoon because no one else wants it. And if they keep on doing what they're doing, and you know what? I'm a Benji fan.
Yeah.
I like Benji as a human being. Of course, as a player, we all grew up with him. We saw what he can do. And you know what? They're going to burn the kid. They're going to burn him.
I hope
Sheen's going to walk away because he'll have enough of this shit. Okay. And they're just going to burn Robbie and
that's why I think
Robbie and Benji.
I think if it were me, no disrespect to anyone, but get rid of Ferno. He can go somewhere else. Robbie Farah, give him another role somewhere in the club.
He wants to be in the office.
Keep him away from the team. Get Justin Holbrook in as Benji's assistant and move forward. Let Sheens go back to doing what he was doing, which hopefully will shut out. I mean, Pasco's been dead quiet throughout all of this anyway. And Lee Hadjipentalis is the one who's fronting the media. But
that means you're taking power away from.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just pulled a few points out of the conversation because we'll be here for 2 hours if we have to cover it all.
Let's move on, Nicola.
But seriously, do yourself a favour and go watch it because it's actually entertaining. He dressed like Al Capone. I don't know what the point of that is, but anyway.
Psycho.
Manly, these two youngsters that everyone keeps talking about, the Fainu brothers. Apparently, Scott Fulton's lured them over to the West Tigers. I don't know any details about the deal. I don't know if you guys do.
Troy?
I think they recently played in the Under-19s Origin.
Last
Looked
week.
all right.
The massive potential with these guys. So whether that's a good thing for the Tigers, obviously, if they've got that potential, and a loss for Manly, but who knows? Only time will tell, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still only young, and obviously they've already represented their state, so Yeah, good
Look,
luck to him. I mean, that's a good thing for the Tigers.
Yeah.
That's one of the good things.
They do look good.
Let's hope the
to
club doesn't burn
youngsters.
them.
The only issue is that what they've got coming in pathways. I mean, they got 20 of these kids now. Why
Yeah.
they'll pay overs to get some kids from Manly? I suggest to you it's just Fulton trying to.
They do have a good rap on them, from what but I haven't
but
obviously seen much.
let me suggest to you what they've got in their pathways. They can accommodate youngsters like that and pay nothing for them.
Speaking of pathways, your mate Pathways Gould.
Oh.
That's our new name for Phil Gould.
Pathways.
Pathways Gould.
Pathways
Apparently, he
Gould.
visited someone in jail.
Yeah, well, anyway.
Is there anything to that story?
I don't know. He went and saw some rugby league play. I don't know. I didn't. It made me sick.
Is it a potential signing there?
Oh, I suggest it is. I suggest it is. You know, Gould.
I think it's Fanu. Is it Fanu Brown? Is it maybe?
yeah.
I'm not too sure his name, but I think
Manly player, right? Is it a Manly player?
He was. I think he's in jail with Jared Hayne, I think.
Okay.
Um,
Maybe he's trying to get Hainsey out of retirement, George.
I hope not. I don't know.
Do you need a fullback? No, you got Crane coming.
You know what? I don't get it. I don't believe in what he's doing. I don't understand it. I think we've got the wrong Penrith coach, because I see a guy in New Zealand doing outstanding work, and if you suggest he's got much better cattle than the Bulldogs, let me suggest to you he's made the cattle much better.
Yeah, he definitely has.
Yeah. So let me suggest to you, we got the wrong coach, we've got the wrong recruitment manager. This is going in 3 years. You see heads tumbling.
But is it
Mark
is
my
it not
words.
fair to say the Bulldogs the last 2 weeks, their performances have improved
Have they?
compared to the weeks prior?
Okay.
They gave it to the Broncos for a long time last week.
Yeah,
and then
the first half,
the
20
Yeah.
minutes,
flew out.
Broncos-
they're in there, but
Broncos are equal first. They're not a dud team, you know.
yeah, but they were pretty depleted. Number one, number two. You know what? There's an M7 straight through the middle of the Bulldogs' defense. Okay, and you know what? We got this kid called Jake Avarillo, but no, it's okay. It's okay. We'll go and we'll buy our way out of our trouble, and we'll get rid of him.
That's
you
a
know
strange
what I mean?
one for
that
me,
burns
yeah.
me. That
Yeah.
burns me because he's a local product. He's looking good. Look,
Yeah.
maybe he's taken a bit longer to develop than your Crichtons or
Yeah,
whatever.
but players do, when they're, no disrespect, when they're not at strong clubs, they do take longer to develop.
Well, he has, but I don't
Young
know.
Carraz as well.
Well, Carraz looks good, but I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. You know what? I know what he's going to do. Okay, he'll pick up Payne Haas, and he'll pick up Crichton, and in 3 or 4 years, he's going to have an outstanding rugby league team because he's bought from here, there, and everywhere. Okay, and they'll make the top 4, and he's going to talk about how good the club is and how good he is, because he still tells us that he's the one who built Penrith. You know what I mean? Because he's set up pathways.
One thing in his
5-year
defence,
plan,
Five
yeah.
years playing, which
10
15,
which took 12 years.
Yeah.
12 years. Yeah.
One thing in his defence, I don't know if the new episode came out today or not, but I listened to his last week's episode of his podcast, 6 Tackles with Gus, and his co-host asked him about the secret lunches, and he goes, "Let me be abundantly clear about something. If I have lunch with someone and I don't want the media to know, I'm not going to do it in a cafe, right? There's nothing secret about these lunches that I'm having. I'm catching up with people. If I don't want anyone to know about it, I'm not going to do it in a public place."
Yeah.
You know, so the media are kind of picking on him a little bit with that as well.
Look, we know what the media's like. We know Buzz.
Yeah.
We know
Yeah.
you know what I think about Buzz. You know what I think about Crawley. You know what
Well,
I think
with
about all of them.
the Manly club, they came out and they provided the list of players and who their agents were, because they're talking about the whole Isaac Moses thing. I see both sides of the argument.
Yeah, but let me tell you on that, there's history there.
Yeah.
He did the
Brisbane.
he did this. What's his name?
Seabold.
Yeah, Seabold. What do we call? The professor did the
Yeah.
same thing at Brisbane. Okay, and we saw where that ended up. Next year, he hasn't got Flanagan.
Yeah,
So there
yeah.
goes another strong personality. Okay, and Maya's like, you know what's wrong with Seabold or the professor? He's a nice guy,
But
and he says yes to everything.
But you know what cracked me up about that whole thing? Not the actual story itself, but all the guys on 360 were hammering Manly for this PR stunt. You've come out and done this, why would you do that? Well, because you guys have been giving him shit for the last month.
yeah,
That's why.
yeah,
They felt the need to respond.
Yeah.
Did you forget that part? You guys talk about it on every episode.
Yeah.
So the club's come out and said, well, we've only got 5 players under contract to, Isaac Moses. But they've also got the coach and some of the coaching staff. And
There's
anyway.
most of the coaching staff, and I think there's 6
I think
players.
it's going up to 7 or 8.
Yeah.
7 or 8
year.
next year,
Yeah.
So the same thing happened in Brisbane, Troy.
Yeah.
The same thing, and that's what got him into trouble. And then it took him 2 years to fix the roster up.
Yeah.
And you wait, history always repeats. And you know what? The issue is that I think that Seabolt is a really nice guy. He's probably a softie. I've never met him. He's probably a big softie, and he believes Isaac Moses. And you know what? Because the players that they're bringing up or bringing to the team, you can't say they're superstars. They're
You also
average.
gotta
No, that's the thing, though.
They're average
Yeah.
NRL players.
You also got to think too, he might have a bit of a cut too, like saying, oh, look, I'm going to help
Hey.
you out, you help me
Yeah.
out. And
Well, he must be, as they said on 360, he must be appreciative of Moses getting him another job, because he looked like he wasn't going to get another job. So you know what? Let's watch his space. But history always repeats itself, unfortunately. And I hope it doesn't. But there's bad signs there, Nicola.
Now, one of my highlights of this podcast, Troy, is getting George worked up.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Turns red, he starts to sweat.
Oh no!
what-
Troy.
what
It's
do you
pretty
got
easy
for-
to
what do
do
you got
it.
for
Tonight I can do it with 2 words. Graham Annesley.
Oh, you're kidding! You got me going again.
the Monday
Stop
the
it.
Monday recap.
It's easy. Don't do it. Stop it. Because you know what? You make people angry, Annesley. You make people angry. We got that wrong. Thanks, Scoop. Thanks. Really appreciate it. Why'd you give him 2 points as well? You know what I mean? No, not 2. 4. For 2 weeks in a row for the poor Titans. You know what I mean? And I don't really care about the Titans. And I thought Parramatta played better anyway, so it doesn't matter. But for God's sake.
They were offside on that last
no
play,
doubt,
though.
no
But the
doubt.
thing is, the
Titans
Titans
were offside as well. For
Yeah,
Moses.
yeah.
and
No doubt. So call it every time.
the
then. Simple.
The Titans were penalised on the bell last week, and it cost them the game. And no one would even notice if not for the hoopla is that you're seeing it happen in every game at both ends. But for some reason, that one was picked out. So, excuse me, be consistent with it or don't.
Blow it.
I'm glad they weren't the other night.
Oh,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Look,
you know.
Parramatta would have won anyway because they were playing a better. I mean, for God's sake, you had 11 players for one stage. You know what I mean? But
yeah, they scored 2 tries in that period.
yeah, exactly.
Gold Coast did, yeah.
Exactly. But you know what? You can't do that. And you know what makes it? You compound the mistake when you come out and you try to apologise for it. Yeah, we got it wrong. You know how that infuriates people, Annesley? You know
That's right.
how that makes people angry?
That's another thing. So RCG was sin bin for the knees. Sevo was sin bin for the high shot. I don't have a problem with either one of them. At least Sevo was trying to make a tackle. Campbell Gillard, that was just lazy and sloppy. I don't know what he was.
But wait a
Yeah.
minute. It wasn't intentional.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
It wasn't intentional. It was
So-
just clumsy and it was avoidable.
So on Tuesday, Crawley came out, and you're a disgrace too. The RCG did it intentionally. Please, do you know the guy? Have you seen his resume, his
Yeah.
history?
And there was no oomph in it at all. Like, there was no
You know what I mean?
player wasn't
He
hurt
got
at
it
all. Or,
wrong.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know what? He's paid the price.
Yeah,
and I reckon,
absolutely.
And I reckon he's paid 2 weeks too much. But okay.
But my
no one's gonna
question
say
is,
anything.
Tino was charged and subsequently suspended for 3 games for a shoulder charge, right, in the same game. He was also penalised for raising his forearm
Again?
for the 3rd time in 5 or 6 weeks. How come he wasn't sin bin?
Well,
I mean, they were sin binning
Because, it was a shoulder charge.
They were
by
sin binning
Tino.
everyone for shoulder charges at the start of the
Sin
year.
bin by Jared Wallace as well.
Yeah.
I think he got.
So they're
but
just-
he got off as well. I think.
so he should, because I don't know if that's what you call a shoulder charge. Okay, hitting you around the breadbasket with your shoulder and trying to wrap his arms. He just couldn't get his arms around. Well, I thought the shoulder charge was banned. The old classic Sonny Bill
Williams.
Yeah.
yeah. And
I
look,
missed the shoulder charge.
yeah, and look, me too. I got this different view, Troy. I reckon a shoulder charge should be legal. But if you hit the neck or head of anyone, okay, that's 12 weeks. Your choice. If you want to do it, go and do it. Okay.
get it right.
But if you even bounce off and hit his head, that's 12 weeks without
Don't even go to the judiciary. It's 12 weeks. You can't fight it. 12 weeks.
Just get it right.
anything.
See, for me, if it bounces off, that should be fine. If it's direct contact with the head or neck, that's different. But if it bounces off the chest, well, you've made contact with the chest.
I
Yeah,
hear
it
what you're
all
know what I
depends
mean?
on the point of impact.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. Look, you
What
know
are they
what?
supposed to do?
We're not
From
playing-
now on, you can only tackle below the waist?
We're not playing tag here.
I know.
That's what they're trying to do.
I know.
They're trying to make it vanilla. Anyway.
Now, I've got a few things on the Eels here that Troy will appreciate this. Because earlier in the season, we were talking about the tough draw,
Disgrace.
which was very tough. Now, with 6 games to go, I was looking at it. So the Eels have had the most 5-day turnarounds of any team. They've played the most teams coming off a bye. There was 3 in a row. Roosters, Penrith, and someone else.
Manly.
And Manly, when Manly were going strong at the start of the season. I only played the Dragons, Knights, Dolphins, Tigers once. So they play a lot of top 8 teams twice. And the last 6 games, Cowboys, Storm, Dragons, Broncos, Roosters, Panthers, 4 of those are away from home as well.
Andrew,
And the Dragons are at home.
Yeah.
That's one game you'd want to have away.
There's that Andrew Eddinghausen draw kicking.
Yeah. What's and yet you got Cronulla who.
Oh yeah, that Andrew Eddinghausen draw.
What are Cronulla sitting at the moment?
What's that?
Oh, they get Cronulla gets every break possible.
What are they?
How they the top 4 because they play Neville.
Yeah,
Nobody's
yeah.
every
Where are
week.
they sitting at the moment in the ladder?
Who?
Cronulla.
3rd?
They haven't beaten the top 8 team this year.
They're about 5th.
They haven't beaten the top 8 team yet this season.
I like it when they say that statistic, and I think there's a little asterisk because I think there's 1 out of 8 or something. But I think that was the Parramatta.
Well, that
game
was an
in
anomaly because that
round
was
2.
Parramatta in round 2
And
when
they
everyone's in the top 8.
Yeah.
And
Nicola,
Parra weren't in the top 8 for the first couple of months anyway.
Nicola, the Sharks come in 6th, but they're on 26 points. So they're what? They're 4 points away from the.
They
from
haven't
the
beaten the
top.
top 8 team.
They haven't been the top 8, and they've got how many? They've got all their. They've taken all their buys. Yeah, they've had all their buys. So, yeah. So, but look, and they haven't beaten it, or they beat you guys, but you guys weren't in the top 8 then, were you?
It was round
And
2.
The other thing too is the Origin by
Yeah.
before Origin 3 as well.
Yeah.
Every other
And
club had
it's the
one
second because
before
the
Origin
same
and-
thing happened last season as well. They got a really cruisy draw and then folded in the semis.
And they'll do it again. So they're not doing them a favour. Don't think they're doing them a favour for 1 minute. I'll tell you now. You think you're doing them a favour, but you're not.
Is there anything I've left out, boys? Is there anything else you guys want to raise about the week that was?
I think we covered it all. I think. Just trying to think. What else is there?
The Roosters are going from bad to worse.
Oh, what do you think about James Tedesco taking a week off up in Byron Bay?
Without knowing the details, maybe mentally he needed time away. And it's not, sorry, other teams rested their players too after the Origin.
Yeah, true.
I think it's just the fact that because they're going so poorly, he went away for the weekend, you know. But didn't his wife just give birth or something as well, or she's about to?
She's about to, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not to say the Roosters would have won against Melbourne anyway.
No, but whether
he's
I know he's the captain and all that, but for me, whether he's sitting on the sideline or not, it's not going to make a difference. He's given the weekend off, and that's it.
I had a blow up when Best went to Bali, but I thought that half the team went to Bali. I wasn't sure if I knew
it
it
was
was
on a bye weekend.
Yeah.
They weren't playing.
They weren't playing, and if I knew it was only Best, well, I wouldn't have blown up. Good on him, you know what I mean? But I had this idea of Ponga taking half the team and going and having a massive piss up. That's what I just thought, you know what I mean? Now, Teddy's cooked. Teddy's tired. You can tell. He had a NRL season. He had a World Cup. He had a very short off season. Okay. And he's back into NRL.
And he's been under a lot of pressure this year.
And unfortunately, the Roosters this year, and you know what? They don't get it wrong too often, but they got it wrong with recruitment. And they've had an off season, so he's taken a lot on him. You know what? If he wants to go 1 week to Byron Bay, let him go, man.
See, the other thing for me is that they say, oh, you know, he's the captain, he should have been there. If you want to rest him, rest him. A lot of clubs did rest their players. Penrith do it every year. But he should have been there, he should have been whatever. And my take on that is, if he's going to do all that, he might as well play because he's not having a break. If he's travelling to the
Still
game
running
and doing
around
all
the
that.
team and-
Maybe he just needed 3 days away from everything.
Yeah.
And we don't know what his mental state is like. He's been under immense pressure this year, more than any time in his career.
If Robbo says stay home, there's a reason he
Yeah.
said it.
So I don't have an issue with it. Because again, if he's going to go to the game and all, well, he might as well play.
Yeah, no, I agree. If you're going to go
You
there
know?
and play, sit in the stands. What for? If you had an ACL, yeah, go sit in the stands. But I mean, if you're on a bit of a break, just go.
Yeah.
So that was a storm in a teacup. The journos pumped that one up, which they're just trying to find a story. Hey, who would you prefer, Tino or Payne?
You know I've got a man crush on Tino.
Yeah.
But if push came to shove, I'd rather have Payne because,
Why?
well, earlier this season I saw him pick up the ball from dummy half and score. How many props do that? The guy's so athletic. One thing I noticed about Payne Haas, and keep an eye out for this, when they concede tries, so many times he's the last man chasing down the try scorer.
Yeah.
But props just don't do that.
Got a bit of Nathan Highmarsh about it.
Yeah, and I'm talking about from a distance tries, not Nathan Highmarsh. I'm sure you read his book. I did, obviously, when it came out, and I remember something that stood out for me was that if you remember Nathan Highmarsh, when other teams scored length of the field tries, he always chased them all the way back, and he was asked why do you bother doing that, and he said, well, if they trip over or drop the ball, I'll be there. So that's the effort. That's the effort plays right there.
Absolutely. Let me
And we've
just,
seen that happen too.
absolutely we have. Let me just say the last word on Tino or Payne. Payne Haas changes franchises or changes clubs. Tino, unfortunately, is an extremely good rugby league player, but I don't think that he can change a club.
I think Payne's just a better athlete.
Yeah.
He's more of an athlete.
And I think with Payne, he's a devout Muslim as well, so he doesn't gamble, doesn't
He
drink.
won't off field. He should be sweet. Yeah.
Oh, I think
Just
he's
don't tread on his shoes.
Just don't step
but
on his feet.
I personally think Payne.
nice white shoes.
I personally think he's got some character issues. How he goes every 6 months out to market, but
Yeah,
You
but
know
is that him or is that his management?
you reckon it's his management? Probably.
I mean, so many times we blame the players, but they're really under the direction of their management. You know,
Okay, my question to you, and every club's different. How much would you pay Payne?
I'd give him $1 million.
Million?
I think he's worth it.
Yeah, 900.
I'd give him $1 million. In this day and age,
Ask me.
if Schuster's getting 800,000, I'd give him $1.5 million.
Ask me.
Would you?
I'll give him 1.5.
Yeah. Again, when you look at,
because he changes clubs.
I mean, Luke Brooks is on 1.2.
Yeah.
Would you
Yeah.
pay Payne $1 million?
Yeah, I'd pay Payne 1.5. Hey, Artie's man Ponga is on 1.4. He's going to end up 1.6 in 2 years.
Payne, take 1.5, take the house and the car as well.
Yeah.
Whatever
I
it
agree,
takes.
1.5, yeah.
I
mean-
would. So other teams have got like Penrith doesn't need him, Parramatta doesn't need him,
Yeah.
but there's teams that need him. You know what I
Tigers
mean?
might give him $2 million.
2 million. Hey, they could. He'll change the franchise. He would. He'll change. Yeah, give him 2 million.
He's just a baby too.
He's only 23. Eh?
Yeah.
Gee. There might be some issues after fitting people in after 2 million, but hey,
Yeah,
what the
that's
bugger?
it.
Just give it to him. Give it to him anyway. Troy.
I'm sure Lee will figure out a way to make it happen.
He might end up being one of the coaches. That could be his
They
salary.
they don't have the salary cap. They have the salary fedora.
Yes.
Fedora.
yes.
Well, let's look at Done and Dusted, which is the week that was. Round 20, I think it was. Opened up on Friday night with the Knights beating the Tigers 34 points to 18. Any surprises here?
Troy.
The Tigers, they sort of stood up a little bit. But I think Newcastle at home, they just showed what they were worth. And talking about it a little bit before, Bradman Best bringing that back to Newcastle, scored a try. And probably one of the good things for Newcastle is Kalen Ponga sitting out the Origin Series this year and concentrating on Newcastle. So I think it was always going to be a Newcastle.
They've been
game.
on a good run the Knights, haven't they, the past month or so?
Yeah, they've been playing some pretty good footy, and I think when we're talking about running down tries, I think Tyson Gamble would have got a bit of a wake-up call.
Yeah.
when Dareem Vuller nearly knocked the ball out when he was scoring his try.
Geez, that kid's good, isn't he?
yeah,
Buller?
yeah, he's been one of the shining lights.
They've
of the
got to
Tigers.
lock him up. The Tigers have to lock him up. George, what do you think?
He's so good, Buller. You know what, Nicole? I'm going to tell you that both teams were ordinary. Maybe West. Both teams tried hard, but the game wasn't a very high standard. Yeah, best backed up his Origin performance. You know what? They keep on doing that same thing what they did to Bulldogs. They go left. Ponga comes on a sweep play. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's playing 5'8" this week? There. Was it
Tyson?
Was it Tyson?
Yeah.
Yep. And they just keep on feeding Ponga. And look, let's get real. Ponga, with me joking aside, he's outstanding. He's one of the best fullbacks, and he should be a fullback. He's not a 5'8". One of the best fullbacks in the game.
He seems to have gone to another level since packing up the Origin for this year, not having to think about it. He seems less distracted.
Yeah. Well, look, to be honest, they'll playing the Tigers. I feel for West. I think they tried, and Buller's outstanding, and he should be Rookie of the Year. I hope he's a Rookie of the Year because he's going to get even better. He's only 19 or 20.
What about the Appy experiment? They moved him into the halves.
He's so frustrated, poor Appy.
There's talk that he'll be starting in the halves this weekend.
Really?
Who else they got?
Gee.
Yeah.
They got Brandon Wakeham there, but
Oh, gee.
Wasn't he the one who got hooked? One of them got hooked
Wakeham to get a hold.
for Appy to go into the halves.
yeah, I don't think that'll work. But
I don't think it'll
I
work
guess their season's gone, so they want to just try something. I guess, see how it goes.
I like Dominic Young. Next year, Nicola. I just thinking about Dominic Young, who's an Englishman. They're getting a guy called Carl Peace-Paul.
Newcastle is.
Yeah, he plays for Wigan, and if you follow the Super League like I do, he's one of the superstars in England. He really is outstanding. I didn't say anything most of the year. I've dropped it in here and there because I wasn't convinced, but I am. He's got a sort of nanai sort of body, tall, slim, thick. He's got really long arms and really long. He must have really long fingers, and he holds the ball out like that. Okay, you've obviously seen him. You've obviously seen him play, Troy.
Did Dominic recruit him to Newcastle?
I don't know.
Get a bit of a cut?
Well, he's been signed the last 2 years. He's been waiting to finish the contract. So he's signed 2 years, probably. Actually, Dominic only played 2 Super League games. So he came here on a whim, hoping he'll make it. So, Anyway, I think he's very good, and I hope I don't bite my words when he comes out in Australia and he's just a flop. But there's a lot to offer. So let's hope they improve next year. But they're losing Young, but I'm sure they can find a winger. I love Greg Marju. I love him. Tyson Gamble, he's the captain of my sledging team.
The sledging,
He's the best. Jackson Hastings sort of come off the boil a little bit. Okay, I think maybe he's tired. I'm not sure what he is, but he hasn't been producing like he did at the start of the year or at stages last year. What do you think about that, Troy?
Is that just the fact that Kalen's doing more, I guess?
Maybe just feeding him, you reckon?
Taking it off him a little bit. He's probably just doing his job and...
Probably. Putting Kalen into... Look, when Kalen sweeps around and comes from shape... In shape, second man off a lead runner, and the defence just move a little bit in, or the insides don't tie in, and he hits an outside shoulder. He's electric. He's electric. Even when he skips outside someone and gets on an outside shoulder, then the line has to react. They have to move in. He's not many people can do it. 2 players can do it. Ponga and the Brisbane fullback, you know what I mean?
Walsh.
So
They did play the Tigers, so here's a hypothetical for you guys. Would the Tigers be sitting in last place if Hastings was their halfback this season?
Yes.
You think so, yeah?
Yes, it's culture.
Yeah,
it's not playing, it's
I
culture.
think so too,
Okay.
yeah.
It's culture.
Too much going on there.
Yeah.
But look, I think it was a low standard game, and Knights won, and I still think that Brian, the coach is going to lose his job. But that's my opinion.
George, let's turn the clock back 17,000 at
Oh,
Belmore
yeah.
Sports
What a-
Ground Saturday afternoon.
What a great day.
An emotional day. The
Yes.
farewell of Josh Reynolds.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the Bulldogs went down 44-24 against the Broncos, but the first half was really competitive. The second half, the Broncos just got away with it.
Yeah. Look, you know what? When I saw the ground full, it brought back memories. Going and sitting on the hill there. It's been a while since I've been there.
Did you weren't out there? No,
No, I didn't go out there. It was a beautiful day. It was a great
it
crowd.
was. Yeah.
Funny thing is the last time the Broncos had played there was 1998.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the 5'8" that day was Kevin Walters.
Wow.
So,
You reckon that's the last time Kevin was there? Probably.
Wait a second.
Well,
Wasn't
the
that the
last time
grand
the Broncos-
final in '98? Broncos
Yeah.
Bulldogs.
Yeah,
That was
Yeah.
the grand final as
Yeah.
well.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got dusted then as well. Anyway,
Well, that's a year that we'll never forget.
What
We
happened-
don't need to talk
we-
about it, George. Let's move
Okay.
on.
Yeah, yes, please.
I can't remember what happened so better.
The preliminary final. That famous Paul
no.
Carriage game.
That game.
Had to bring up the grand
Oh,
final. didn't
yeah,
ya?
I know. Sorry.
That was a great game, though.
Sometimes I talk before I think.
Yeah, look, they hung in first half, Nicola, but come second half, we saw the weaknesses of all the weaknesses of Canterbury. Like I said before, they got a big M7 straight through the middle. Their forwards just are not up to it, and Reynolds knew exactly what button to push, and he pushed every one of them, mate.
He was good, wasn't he?
And we made Broncos Reggie's basically because that's what 6 were out, I think.
Yeah.
We made them look sensational. So the less we say about this game, the better. But
Did you like Reid interrupting Billy Walters' post-try celebration though? He was
No.
doing the selfie. And
no,
Reid
I
just
didn't.
come and knock out the ball.
I know that he's an angry young man, especially now, a frustrated young man. But no, when they do their try, just let them
him
do
go.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
let him do it. You know what I mean? When I saw it, I thought it was going to be on, but
Reid needs to focus on his game and not worry about that stuff.
Nico brought up a stat a couple of weeks ago that he's missed more tackles than anyone
Well,
else
I haven't
in the
looked this
NRL.
week, so I don't know if it's still there. But up until last weekend,
Yeah.
he was leading the missed tackles count
Yeah.
for the whole
And
competition.
that could be what Troy's going to say now. Him trying too hard, and you know how many tackles can the poor guy make?
Well, it's like what you just said before about Jackson Hastings. If he was at the
Mm.
Tigers, Reid going to the Bulldogs his game has suffered
Oh,
Yeah.
big time,
because of the club that he's at.
big time, big
No
time.
offense to the
No,
Bulldogs.
no,
though,
no.
but-
Look, I know exactly where we're at.
Um,
I know exactly where we're at.
Well, no, I mean, he's gone from a club that made a grand final with a solid spine that's been playing together for a long time into a club that is in a rebuilding
Mixes
phase. So it was always
matches.
going to be difficult. You know, it was always going to be
I
difficult.
didn't think he thought it was going to be that difficult.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. Better we move on from that, eh?
Yeah, let's move on. He hurts me that one. No one
Brookvale
hurts.
Oval or Four Pines or Lotto Land or whatever it's called these days. I can't
Brookie,
keep up.
call it
I call it
Brookie.
Brookie.
Yeah, Brookvale.
Cowboys beat Manly 19 points to 8. Now, I didn't see this game, but one thing that made me laugh was in the first half I saw it and it was like 9-6 or something. Was there an early field goal in this one?
Yes. It was
What
a
happened
field
there?
goal. It was a field goal. Troy?
Chatty Townsend put the field goal right on half time.
Oh, so it was close to half time.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So they had an opportunity. So maybe a bit of practice for upcoming games.
But it was the score was close, wasn't it, at the time?
Yeah, it was. It was. Manly are always a little bit stronger at Brookie. Good thing D Madison made his debut. NRL
Yeah,
debut
Ryan
at
Madison's brother.
Yeah,
Scored a
20,
try, is it?
25 and scored a try
Scored a
as
try.
well. I think they're the someone was saying they're the 10th set of brothers to score tries in their
Wow.
NRL debuts. So yeah, good luck to him. It was good.
Yeah, it was good to see Scott Fulton's work come to fruition.
I don't think Scotty
Did he
brought him
regret
over.
Maybe before he left.
Maybe. Troy's right, Nicola.
Cowboys are hitting form at the right time. They've gone from shocking to they've finally found their mojo.
They're hitting form at the right time. Back to what to Troy's point that Manly do play better at Brookvale Oval,
Yeah.
and they did play better. And this game was actually a very entertaining.
It
game.
was tight, wasn't it?
It was tight, but it never looked to me. It never looked like Manly were going to win.
Okay.
I always thought that the Cowboys were in control. But let me tell you about the Cowboys. Let's not go on about Manly because Manly's not going to make the 8. You might be surprised they might lose more than you think. And let's talk about next year with Manly, but Cowboys.
We've got them this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a very, very,
Townsville
very
too.
Tough
good.
game.
Of course, it's in Townsville.
Yeah.
It's probably a game you moved up there, knowing your luck. Game moved
The
up like
draw.
you always do. Anyway, they're a very good team.
Yeah.
Scott Drinkwater, he's, as we call him, Drinky. Drinky's
Yeah, he's been
amazing.
really good, hasn't
He's
he?
amazing.
They've
That-
also got all their troops back in the past few weeks
You know
as
what?
well.
I heard an interview on SEN of their coach, and you know what he said? Origin hit at the right time for us. He goes,
Yeah, that's
I
good,
got
yeah.
him back with vigor, okay?
Yeah.
And they were different players. I saw him training, and he goes, and he was infectious. He went all the way through the camp. He goes, at the moment, they're exceeding my expectations.
Good stuff, yeah.
He said, they're the real deal.
Yeah.
They are the real deal because they got a packed at rolls, and when they hit their bench, they just keep on rolling. Okay, and the old stager there, my mate Nicola, which I can't find, the Chad. Okay, and unfortunately, it looks like he's on the outer, but the Chad just pulling the strings.
Yeah.
And everybody just running off him. The halfback in waiting for Queensland, Tom Dearden, is outstanding. Look, if they're not there on the second last weekend of the year, I'll be a monkey's uncle.
Pretty amazing where they've come from to where they are now.
Look, I don't think they'll make the top four because I don't think there's enough games. But I think if they get in the bottom of the four or the bottom four, I'd be worried. If I was any team playing them, I'd be worried.
The Roosters went down again, 30 points to 16 against the Melbourne Storm. Definitely trouble in paradise there.
There's trouble in paradise.
Where does Robbo go to fix this? What does he do?
Got no idea. Sam Walker's still out.
He's injured, I think.
Yeah, still.
Apparently, I don't know if he'll be back this season.
No, it doesn't look like it, unfortunately, which is obviously a big loss for the Roosters. They just, I guess, their
It's a big-
confidence is down.
It's a big loss, but he was also dropped
Yeah, true.
before he got injured.
True.
You know what? Let's get real. Roosters are not going to make the 8. Roosters. Let's write the Roosters' year off. Let Robbo go into a room with Nick Politis and deeply think what they did wrong this year. And we all know what they did wrong.
Brandon Smith's been
They recruited
Yeah.
the person, not the character. For 10 years now, Robbo's been recruiting character, not the player. Okay. Now, I was perplexed when they were going after Brandon Smith. Okay. Think about Melbourne and think about where John Creese had him. Had Brandon.
That's Craig Bellamy, by
That's
the
Craig
way,
Bellamy.
if you don't know.
Okay, so John Creese had him on the bench at lock, and sometimes he'd help out at
Yeah.
lock. Okay, and he made him like he treated him like not a top player. You're a backup player. Okay,
Yeah.
to keep him in check. Okay, you bring him here now as a marquee player. Okay, well Robbo got it wrong. He's
Yeah.
not a marquee player. Okay, is he a good player? Absolutely, he's a good player.
Yeah, but he's an
he's a
airhead.
marquee
He's an
player.
airhead.
Two different things to go
Yeah.
on. Okay, Joseph Manu is a marquee player.
Yeah.
Wherever you put him, he's going to play well. He's not a 5'8", but it doesn't matter. He'll still play well.
Yeah.
You know what? He's probably the best fullback in the club. He's probably the best centre in the club as well. So they're going to have to sit down. And the Suwali thing. I mean, the deal that they signed, every year he can negotiate with this.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not Rooster like.
That's backfiring, isn't it?
So you know what?
Do you just let him go to rugby now?
Let him go. Just let him go.
There's talk of that this week
Let
as
him
well. Yeah.
And you know what? Victor Radley is this close for me.
Is
Close.
that like? Do you guys think that? I mean, he's been cited how many times this season?
He's this close.
He's had to
Two or
adjust his
three.
playing style a bit, and it looks like it's really taken a toll. Or am I reading it wrong?
No, you're not reading it wrong. What do you think?
I think, he's just trying to be careful and just trying to not cross that line because
What do you mean, George? When you're saying he's that close, what
When
are you
I
referring
say
to?
when I say this close, what Troy said. Okay, he's trying to change his natural game.
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to be really tough to reinvent this kid. Okay,
Yeah.
so he's either going to go, or either Robbo is going to have to reinvent the system and the style they play, or the kid has to go to England and be a superstar. He'll be a superstar in England. Okay, is he still young?
He could
I'm
play
not
his
sure.
natural
Still
style.
young.
Still
He
young.
is an Englishman.
Yeah,
Plays
Yeah.
for England.
He could play his natural style in the Super League and get away with it too.
You can. But look, I like the kid. He's full of heart. But that type of play, or what we like about him, and his biggest attributes are not in style for NRL at the moment. Unfortunately, Nicole. Unfortunately, they're not.
Yeah.
They're not for these days. You know what I mean? He's struggling. He was a couple of years ago. He was a dominant player on the field.
Yeah.
You'd be scared of him now. For me, just a normal back
gone
rower.
missing, hasn't he?
He's
Yeah.
just a normal back rower. And thank God he's a good defender. The Storm, this game didn't get to any great heights, but the Storm just keeping on.
Just
Keeping
rolling
on. Yeah. I actually don't believe the Storm. I don't believe in what they're doing. In terms of, I believe what you're seeing is their best they've got. When it comes to semi-finals, Troy, the good teams kick. And I could be wrong, yeah. I don't think they've got a kick. And
Is Pappenhausen
looking at
any
the-
chance of coming back this year?
Apparently,
And would
is.
you or would you just sit him out and get him ready for next
He is a
season?
chance, but he'd give him Queensland Cup games surely first just to get game time.
Now that's interesting because I heard him say that on the FM station. Okay, I've got a different view on that. But tell me why you'd give him a Queensland Cup game.
Oh, just to give him that game time.
He hasn't played in a
year. And
Match fitness.
Nick Meaney's doing the job at fullback now, and then it's a good problem to have. Like if one of them go down, I mean you can bring him in then. But
Okay, so this is a bad example. Would you give Maradona a Reggie's game?
He never had a year out.
Okay, so
No, but hey, don't confuse Pappenhausen with Maradona.
Well,
Come on.
what a minute.
Nah, come on.
Early last year,
Yeah, nah.
was he the best player in the comp?
Doesn't matter.
Early last year, was he the best player in the
No,
comp?
well, for 5 minutes. For 5 minutes.
If you get him like that in the Melbourne team, does the Melbourne team your thoughts on the Melbourne team's chance of the competition change straight away? Troy, does like last year?
Yeah, but will he come back the same way he left? I mean, it's been a year.
Okay, I wouldn't give him because they do contact their training anyway. I wouldn't give a guy like Pappenhausen any time in Queensland Cup nor in the Reggies. If he's ready, he plays. If he's not
we
ready,
know
next year.
I just lost my train of thought there.
Well, other players are doing it. Other clubs are doing it.
We know when players get a major injury and then come back, they're always a little bit ginger
Yes, absolutely. they
and
are.
a little bit
Takes
wary
a while.
of what they're there. It takes a while.
Takes a while. It does take
to
a
come
while.
back in.
Yeah, of course. Look at Paul Turbo. He still hasn't really got it. You know what I mean? He was getting back, and he will get back to it, but he still took.
Maybe he would have been better off with a handful of cup games. Turbo.
Turbo. Carve up and carve.
Yeah.
Well, look, maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't think Craig will do it.
He's been out for a long time now.
Yeah, I don't think Bellamy will put him in Regis. I think
Over
if
a
he's
year,
ready,
isn't it? Over a year.
over a year.
Yeah,
Over a year.
18 months.
Yeah.
Start of last year. Yeah, when he got the
It's a
round
long
6,
time.
round 5.
That's a long time
Yeah.
to be out.
Look, let's watch his space. They say that there's a chance in 5 weeks, but if he doesn't come back in 5 weeks, they won't next year.
Yeah, there's no point at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, you wouldn't bring him back just for the semis.
Nah.
Well, that's what
Chuck
they're
him into
thinking.
semi-final
Yeah.
football.
But that's what they're thinking. That's what Craig's thinking.
Interesting.
Well, that's what Smitty said on SCN today.
Okay, interesting.
Doesn't mean it's right.
Uh,
Doesn't mean it's right.
Sunday afternoon kicked off with the Warriors belting the Sharks 44 points to 12. Sharks, again, can't beat the top teams. Warriors, they're on fire.
Unstoppable in New
Their
Zealand, aren't
spine,
they?
yeah.
Sean Johnson's turning back the clock. They just play with a lot of confidence at the moment.
So Webster's just got him
Yeah,
playing the
he's-
best footy I've seen him play in maybe ever.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you see, years gone by, the roller coaster team, they'd be
Yeah.
flying high, and then they'd have a bad loss. But this year they've been pretty consistent, and they're looking maybe to get into a top 2 spot.
Yeah,
I agree. Top 4.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. We said a while ago because we called Webster who last year.
Webster who? Because we didn't know who he was.
Yeah, Webster last year.
Webster who?
Artie goes to me. Webster's gone to the Warriors as a coach. I go, Webster who? And then we just call him Webster who now. Okay, so Webster who somehow has cracked the Da Vinci Code. The only other coach who's cracked the Da Vinci Code has been Ivan, and they've gone to the grand final with another
Daniel
coach,
Anderson.
Daniel
Daniel
Anderson.
Anderson,
Yeah. So and that was pure. The Daniel Anderson one was pure cattle. They were stacked. So Webster who not only has unlocked the Da Vinci Code, Troy, but has given him a style of play which is very NRL semi-final bound, and they're playing it now. Is it a little bit Penrith? Yes, but it's a lot him and what he's got.
Sure.
Nico, they're outstanding. Fanua Blake is probably going to be the prop of the year. Where Eden found this form, I have no idea where. I never knew Wade Eden could play that well.
Yeah.
Watching him over the year. If someone told you a couple of years ago that Jackson Ford was going to play this type of way and in this form, you wouldn't believe it. Okay, Mitch Barnett. I hope they've signed him long term because this pack is outstanding.
What's going on at the Sharks?
Okay, well they've and you can tell me they've made some massive.
Well, I know they've
changes.
dropped Moylan.
Okay, yeah, okay.
And they've dropped, I think, Talakai as well.
Yes, because he's a revolving door. You know what? It's a mental thing. I'm not sure. I've always said that their pack can't handle the top 2-3 packs in the game. Eventually they'll get run over.
Isn't it fun? We're talking about a team that's in the top 5, top 6,
Whoa.
and we're talking about it's like they're in trouble and they're making
are in trouble.
sweeping changes.
They are in trouble.
This is such a strange team.
They're in trouble. You know what? They're beautiful to watch. Their shapes,
Yeah.
I'd love to be in a defensive line looking at their shapes that they produce because they're beautiful. They're absolutely stunning when you watch them play with ball in hand. Nico drifting across, trying to catch someone on the outside shoulders. You know what I mean? And Talakai being a little tank running through people. But guess what? The big teams can handle all this.
Yeah.
Then when you get them into a washing machine, as I call it, back and forth into a grind. Okay, well then everything falls apart. We've seen it time and time again. Am I right? Am I on the right track?
It started off well for the Sharks. They scored the first try, Nico.
They did, yeah. And I thought it was going to be,
Nico
good.
Hollins, and
Yeah,
then-
you know what? 15 minutes in, I go, oh, that's good. Number one, we're going to have a good game. Number two, I hate hearing all this negative talk about the Sharks because I actually think they're a good team. And I'm a big fan of their coach, Fitzy. I love Fitzy. Okay, but by the end of the game, remember I told you...
There is a soft underbelly there, though.
Yeah. Remember I told you that Warriors break you down slowly,
Yeah.
bit by bit. That's what they did here. Just bit by bit by bit. So they break you down in the middle bit by bit. Then they hit the edges bit by bit. And by 15 minutes, Sean's taken over and he's going back door to the lesbian. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they do it every
By the
week.
way, he's talking about Zelezniak.
Dallin?
Yeah, we call him Lesbianak.
We
It's
can't
just
say
easier.
it, so I said lesbian and that's it from now on.
The Soul Glow man.
So that's what's happening here, Nicola. Troy picked the top 2. I'm not sure about top 2, but top 4. And
They're in the fight, that's for sure.
And they're going to give it a shake.
Yeah.
Fitzy's got 4 weeks to sort this stuff out, mate. I don't know if he can sort it out. You think he can sort it out?
They're possibly one of the teams that's going to go out of the 8 because if the Cowboys are going to get in, then
Yeah,
someone has to
someone's
come
got to get
out.
out,
So
yeah.
it's
You're probably right. You know,
hopefully not us. But
We're no guarantee of making the 8
Oh,
either.
no, we've got a tough run. But
Yeah, but you got an outstanding. You know what? I think Parramatta is a better balanced team this year than last year.
Well, it'd be nice to
Balance.
have Dylan Brown back,
Yeah, that'll be good.
amongst others. But anyway.
SG, yeah.
2 more weeks.
Yeah, 2 more weeks. The Dolphins were leading the Panthers. They went down 24-14. Panthers scored 2 late tries. Worth noting, Panthers rested all their Origin players. I think you always say, George, it's the system that wins the game for the Penrith.
Yeah. Troy, can you jump in here before?
Yeah, I think, as you said, they just put their non-origin players in and the system takes over again. I mean, they won every comp last year that was on offer in all grades. So, and yeah, again, they just took over. Their class took over. The Dolphins, they, as you said, were in there with a chance. They were leading at one stage up at Redcliffe. Both these sides had never lost a game at Redcliffe until Sunday. But yeah, the Panthers, they've got that next man up mentality.
Yeah.
So if one's sitting out, then the other go in and they want to show what they're made of so they can get that opportunity again.
They just did what they had to do. Also, that reminds me of one thing, if I can. Just a highlight going back to Origin 3. This is a personal highlight just for me. Watching Cody Walker get man of the match.
It's good.
Well, the part I enjoyed was thinking of Jerome Luai sitting at home after all his bullshit, and the guy who replaced him, the 33-year-old, got man of the match. That's a personal highlight for me.
Yeah, you know what? On Origin, if we can go back a bit, Panther ball doesn't work in Origin. Bunny ball,
The Rabbitohs combination is what.
Bunny's ball works because it's flat, it's forward moving, it's based on quick play of the balls.
Yeah.
Okay, because think about South Sydney, everything revolves around Cody. Okay, so he needs either early ball. And he needs it. He needs the quick ball. He needs the pack to go forward. Okay, so everything's flat, quick, fast. That's Origin. Now, why Fiddler thought that Panther ball's going to work? You know what I mean? Because everything from Panthers is second man plays. Everything's revolved around Yo, Cleary, and Luluwai. Everything's revolved around that triangle. And we used to have Appy, but we haven't got Appy anymore. And that was the start at the start of the year. That was the problem, trying to work that out. Okay, but anyway, back to this game. You know what? The Dolphins, they've had an outstanding season. Whatever happens from
Gave a good
here
account of
on,
themselves, yeah.
mate. They were there. They were in the fight. They went there to win.
Yeah.
And I love that attitude.
Yeah.
And Wayne has instilled this culture in this club. And he's going to leave next year or the other year, I can't remember. And
I think he's still there next year.
year,
After, yeah.
And then Wolf's going to take
Yeah,
it.
Christian Wolf.
And Christian Wolf's going to inherit a rugby league club. Not forget the team, a club with great culture, and it's something that the bottom 8 teams haven't got. And this guy's created it in a season. They're gritty, they're grindy. Okay. They're not going to beat themselves, okay? And it's at one stage, and I never thought it will happen, but at some stage, we all thought that the Dolphins were going to win, okay? But the good thing about Penrith, there's no panic. We just fall back into structure. We fall back into our systems, and we play the next play.
Yeah.
We play the next play. Okay, and guess what? By the end of the game, we're gonna win.
Yeah.
We're going to be ahead.
And they've got Nathan Cleary back this week as well. It'll be interesting to see how they go.
Before we talk about Nathan Cleary, if Isaac Tango next year is an Origin player, or if he should have been maybe an Origin player this year, here the kid's outstanding. How can you win a game from centre? How can you win a game? Even Eddie Housen didn't win a game from the centres. Even
did that a couple of weeks ago against Melbourne, didn't he?
Again, that's twice now. Okay, and I can't remember the last time. I don't know. Maybe Latrell, let's say. I don't know. The kid's outstanding. Seriously, he's outstanding. And you know what, Cogger? Everybody's throwing dollars at Cogger, but guess what? He has to leave the Penrith system.
Yeah.
Then you have to isolate him. What the hell he's going to go when you isolate? I actually think he's a good kid. I actually think he's a good player. I really do. He's not a highlight type of player, highlight reel type of player, but I think he's a very good kid. But you have to understand that you're buying him and you're not buying the Penrith system.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's going to be hard. And this hard-working pack, Nicola, who would ever think that you've lost so many forwards, okay? And you get kids like Lindsay Smith. Where they find him from? And you know what? They're going to lose Spencer Little next year. Lenu, and then guess what? I bet you any money they'll find someone to replace
Next
him.
man up.
Yeah, so they're an amazing rugby league team, and full credit to Ivan Cleary because he's the one who designed this system and
amended it.
And what we talk about that, Troy, I went and saw Penrith and the Roosters. I went live and saw them, and I like the Penrith, and I talk wax lyrical about this team, not about the actual players, about their system. And then I noticed that Ivan had changed the system just a little bit to suit them because they haven't got Kikau ripping anymore. They haven't got the dummy half.
They've lost Appy, Kikau, Burton, Staines.
So
they've lost a few players.
He adjusted the system, and I was seeing some shapes. There was one time off a scrum, all four of them were behind each other. Off a scrum, and the Roosters line was panicking. They didn't know what to do. Then they split. Okay, then the Roosters D didn't know what to do. You know what I mean? And as Ivan thought will happen, they picked the wrong man. So they're an amazing rugby league team, and full credit to Ivan Cleary.
Okay, so the Rabbitohs had the bye this week, and Troy, why don't you take us through the last game of the round?
He was there.
Yeah, I was there.
He was there.
At Combank Stadium, Eels and Titans, and it was a bit of a seesaw effect. Parramatta were down to 11 men at one stage. I think for 15 minutes of the game.
They conceded twice in that period as well.
Yeah. They let the Titans back into the game. Parramatta got off to a cracker of a start. I think it was 12-0, and we thought, Parramatta's on here, going to put a score on, but that sim-binning period was defining, and as you said, the Titans scored a couple of tries, got back. Titans got that penalty right on half-time for 16-14 lead at half-time, and if it wasn't for that miraculous Gutho play and scoring that try and the trauma...
I thought his knee touched the line for sure, but...
They got an ankle upset apparently, and they said they
I don't know how on earth he got that ball down.
The guy is highlights.
And then Moses kicked it from the sideline.
That's right. Yeah, so two pressure plays in about 2 minutes, and it just shows you how much of a competitor Clint Gutherson is. He just doesn't want to lose games.
And he had a bit of an unhappy first half as well.
Yeah.
For his standards.
I think Fa'asumaleaui stepped him and went on to score. But he's just a competitor, and I'm just glad that Michael Sevo didn't pick that ball up when it went on the ground.
Imagine if he touched that.
Otherwise it wouldn't have been a try. But and then Mitchell iced the game as well with a field goal. So he's getting more confidence about coming back from Origin and getting that experience and controlling the games and knowing when to kick the field goals. And maybe he's the new Iceman. Maybe.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on Ozzy?
Yeah. Look, he's sort of a similar player to Dylan Brown. He's had limited opportunities until Brown's been out, and look, he hasn't set the world on fire. He's had to control the team when Mitch has been out. He's got a little bit of a good left foot kicking game.
Is he young?
I think they've got to find a spot for him when Brown comes back. I don't know where.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting whether he goes onto the bench and does he come on for Brendan Hands.
So you think he's a hooker as well?
I just think maybe he could play that 14 role, maybe.
Yeah.
It's interesting one with Brendan Hands because I don't know whether he's an 80-minute player.
Yeah, and I mean, with Dejan Arce, it hasn't been easy for him. He's come into partner Moses, replacing Brown. Then he had to play with neither one of them there.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been easy for him. He's done quite well.
I actually asked Troy because I think he's outstanding. I think, and I asked you, how old is he? Is he 20 yet?
Yeah, he's low 20s, I think.
Okay,
yeah.
So
he's very young.
I think there's a massive future for this.
He came from the Cowboys, didn't he?
He's a Cowboy junior. I thought he was a local. I
could be wrong.
I think he also played at the Warriors as well.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So he's been around. Okay. What I like, Nicola, is Penasini, Simons, and Russell, and now Ozzy, they're all going to grow up together.
Yeah.
That's the new blood. You know, I mean, I'm not sure how old Sivo is, and I know Gutho's.
I think Sivo's about 28.
Yeah, and Gutho's
28?
same, I think.
Yeah.
I think
Okay,
Mitch
so-
is about 28 as
28.
well.
So
Yeah.
they're in their peak. So they're there for another 5 years at least. So I mean, I can just see up here. We talked about Hands. I'm a massive fan.
He's good.
From the first time I saw him, I told Nico, why the F did they win by a Canberra
Yeah.
broken down? I understand why they did it, because what he can produce.
Yeah.
But Nico didn't think he would produce it. And how? And I don't want to hear it ever again,
What?
about your coach, okay? How your coach has got Bryce Cartwright, okay, playing like he's playing.
He's in career best form.
He's mature enough to know that I've got to take dirty runs. I've got to take the
He's
ball up.
playing hard and physical.
Yeah.
That's not really hasn't been his style historically.
He'll pop because
Yeah.
he's got it in him. He's got it. And
He's
when
playing really tough.
And when the time comes, he will pop. But no one could do that. So you know what? This is exactly what Brad lives for. Kids, people, players who he can develop. You know, last year he had an issue because he had a star-studded team last year.
Yeah.
He can coach them, but he couldn't develop them. Now it's obvious he's developing.
It's got a bit of a Brian Smith feel to it, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, lack of better words. Yeah, and he's got Polo, and yes, he's got Lane, which there's no need to develop here, or RCG, or Mitch. And you know what? Remember the conversations the last couple of years we've had with Mitch. So I was skeptical about Mitch Moses, and
A lot of people were.
well, wait a minute. It's not. Is he a good player? Absolutely. Is he a first grader? Absolutely. Can he win you a comp? Because halfbacks win comps.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you just think back of the last 5 grand final victories. The halfback is the star, and even if he's not the highlights reel man, he's the one doing it. He's mature right this moment. The last contract you signed him, you paid unders for him. He's so mature. We saw what he did on Wednesday night. Okay, he played second fiddle. Didn't say nothing. He played second fiddle very well. Okay, and right here, right now, okay, what I'm seeing I'm loving seeing Mitch at this maturity. He's kicking, he's outstanding. He knows when to run. He knows when to pass. Okay, he will win you a comp.
I hope so.
In the next couple of years,
Yeah,
he will.
definitely.
I'm convinced now. He's ready.
Hopefully
to win
this
you a
year.
comp. Yeah, no.
I hope so.
I believe that this is a perfect balance
I
team.
think becoming a dad as well has made him a bit
Settle him
more-
down. Yeah,
I
he's
think as
28
well.
now. He's
I
his
think
best.
if we can somehow negotiate the next month semi-successfully, then we could we could have a situation where Walker Blake, Dylan Brown.
Walker's playing in Regis, I think. Is he playing back in
He
the
has
Regis?
been. He might get a start on the weekend.
Or
He might
Dylan
have to.
Brown,
Might
RCG, Sivo, these guys will come back fresh
Yeah,
and ready
true.
for the semis,
True.
hopefully.
True. Now, I just want to point out, tell me, live, how good or how does Hofgood look? I've seen him live because we got season
Oh,
tickets.
good. Yeah. He's we all knew his potential
Yeah.
from when he came from Penrith, and as probably one of our marquee
Yeah.
signings.
Absolutely.
And he does have a mistake in him,
Yeah, he
but
does. He does.
he's
A
one of
knock
the.
on.
He's like Gutho. He's a competitor. He doesn't want to lose.
He definitely out produces his errors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
oh,
him-
yeah,
yeah.
100%.
And he's another. I forget your coach's name now.
Arthur.
He's another Arthur type of player, a guy who he can develop, and he has developed because from the first game we saw him to now,
Yeah.
he's improved.
Well,
Tenfold.
he made the 19th man for Queensland.
And
So
so he
Yeah.
should. So
last
he
year
should.
he had played 3 or 4 games in first grade.
That's right. He was basically a Regis player
Yeah.
in Penrith there. So look, you know what? Despite my only issue with Parramatta is the next 4 weeks. If they can make the top 8, or if they can make the 8, okay. They know exactly where they are then. There's no secret. They've been through it how many years, and last year they went to the end. On Titans, I'm going to be very short. Okay. By the way, Parramatta deserve to win. Don't worry about the penalty. penalty. Parramatta deserve to win. Okay, if they're doing this, because I thought that they played pretty well. Now, the game might not have been extremely high quality, but if they're doing this, when Desi takes over, watch his space.
Yeah, they're under a caretaker coach, and they're playing. They're playing quite well every week.
When Desi takes them, and we've seen history. We know the history of Desi. When he takes his team, next year they'll make the 8, and the other year they'll be pushing for a 4. It is what it is with Desi. It is what it is.
So, boys, what in your opinions was the best game of the round?
Oh, which one, Troy?
I thought it was the last round. Oh, geez, probably. What have we got there? Probably the Warriors game, I think.
For me, it was the Eels Titans.
Me too.
Not because we won, but it was just the edge of the seat stuff.
Yeah. In terms of entertainment. Troy.
I mean, taking Parramatta out of it.
I never do, Troy. Don't worry.
I'll take Parramatta out of it. Probably the Warriors game. Just simply because they're playing some good footy at the moment and they're deserving to win. I said to someone the other day, it's great to see not only the Warriors players enjoying themselves, but the fans enjoying themselves as well, especially after
and the players, and that's like you've hit a really important point. The team's having fun.
Yeah,
they're really enjoying playing, aren't they? You can see it.
And I think what Troy was alluding to is what the Warriors went through the last couple of years with COVID.
Right.
I thought you were. And don't forget the poor fans. There is rugby league fans in Auckland or New Zealand. And now they're getting to watch what they should be watching for decades.
I don't think they've had a crowd under 20,000 at their home games this year.
I still think every team this year should have given one home game away to the Warriors, and the Warriors could have played the whole season at home. If every club just gave away one home game,
you know what? If
against them,
if that happened, I wouldn't. I'd say no
I
problem.
think after the whole COVID thing,
well, they kept it going. They kept the league going, didn't they?
If every club gave away one home game, the Warriors would have played at home all season.
Well, then we could have just said, "Oh, well, we played it in New Zealand."
It would, Well, I mean, it would have been a nice. I think it would have been a nice touch considering they did it tough, you know. Which game for you guys was the bludger of the round?
Oh, which one was the bludger? Dogs. They were terrible. They were terrible.
For me, I'm thinking Knights Tigers.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of points scored, but
it wasn't a high quality game.
Yeah.
I mean, Knights were having by the end of it, were having a training run of a pace session. Basically, I didn't like the Bulldogs one, and yes, put Bulldogs in it because there's been a lot of talk. There was a lot of talk on the off season, and a lot of talk with Super Coach or as we call
Mr. Popular.
Mr. Popular, because everybody wanted him, Mr. Popular, and I've seen nothing. And our Mr. Pathways, who was going to fix everything.
Pathways Gould. That's a long-term plan, though.
5, 7,
12,
15 years, decades. But can I just say that there's been many teams who've come last or second last, and the other year they've been in the top 8, like you guys.
It's not only that. It's look at the Dolphins. Look at the Warriors.
Exactly.
They're quick. These are quick turnarounds.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. I personally think, and I don't want this to happen. I want you to come in a couple of years on this pod, Nicole, and say, "Ha, you're wrong." I want to be wrong, but I think
honestly
in 3
don't
years,
believe that's the case. I really don't.
I think it will applaud. I really do. I just think it's not going to work.
What stood out for you guys in this round? I'm going to go the Warriors for me.
The Warriors,
What stood out?
You know what? The Warriors are the crowd. More the crowd than the Warriors. The Warriors, we know what the Warriors are doing. I think the crowd. I think the joy on their faces.
Probably going back to Gutho and that never give up mentality, I think.
But that he passed the ball. I think it was Bailey Simonson, I can't remember, went to ground, and he just never stopped in motion. He just never stopped. I mean, Sivo barely had a chance to even look at it. Gutho was already on it, and just into the corner. It was just he's such a competitor.
Isn't it funny? I mean, if Gutho didn't have that energy that he has, he probably wouldn't be a first grader.
But you know what makes that play even more special? The fact that he was fatigued from Origin
That's right.
just a few days earlier.
All those minutes he
Right?
played.
Heavy
well,
2.5
I mean, he
minutes.
should have played less minutes. And
Yeah.
Pick up the 30 grand and
He
just
would've been
go.
Now, as we mentioned to you earlier, Troy, we call Craig Bellamy John Kreese. John Kreese from Cobra Kai. I don't know if you've seen it.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. He's a bit of a hard ass. And we've all seen Bellamy spray in the box, right?
Yeah.
So one of our questions every week is who gets the John Kreese spray this week.
Yeah, well,
So just imagine Bellamy going off his
there wasn't a spray.
rocker at someone.
He would have got the spray this week.
I'll give it to Brandon Smith, not because of what he did. You know, after they lost, he was laughing and joking on the field and all that. And
That's
the media kind of picked up on it, but just the fact that when he was asked about it, he had to say, "Whoever doesn't like it can go fuck off."
Oh, really?
You have to be a dickhead about it. Like
You can also give them money back.
Everyone,
and go and work on the construction site.
everyone can appreciate that they're all your best mates. We get that and all that,
5 years
and say
ago.
that, which he did.
5
You
years.
can leave the end part off. He's always got to. He's always got to be the larrikin. He's always got to be the. He's starting to be a bit of a Jerome Luai, and personally, I don't think he's had the season to back that shit up. So
way in the world.
he gets my spray for this week anyway.
I'm going to jump in before Troy, or you got someone?
Oh, I was just going to say, I alluded to it a little bit earlier, but yeah, Tyson Gamble for trotting along the try line and then Jerome Bull and him coming out and knocking the ball out. I think Adam O'Brien would have given him one too.
Yeah,
just
good
quietly,
point. Good point.
The captain of the
Just
of the
slide
sledging
in.
team.
Just slide in.
Mate, that's what they teach you under sixes, eh?
Yeah, just
get
slide
that
in,
ball
just get the
down.
ball down.
Nicola, two people get the John Kreese spray. You're the referee who done the
he had a rough
Parramatta game,
night, yeah.
okay?
Chris
and then,
Butler?
Yeah, Chris Butler, is it?
I
Yeah,
think so,
legend.
yeah.
Oh, if it was me, I'd show him the
He had a rough
Reggies,
night.
the
He had a
Reggies
rough
for
night.
next week, okay? And the king of them all, okay, Annesley.
Yeah.
Graham Annesley, who comes every week
Groundhog Day.
and just says the obvious. Thanks, Scoop.
Yeah.
Make us more angry. We know what we know, but when you come out and tell us, okay, you make us even more go cuckoo, okay? Because now Tines are sitting back saying we've lost 4 points.
Yeah.
Guess what? With 4 points, have a look. They'll be in the 8.
Yeah.
There's no chance they're going to be in the 8 now.
Geez, Justin Holbrook ain't looking good, is he? They've been playing better without
Yeah,
him.
they have actually. He must be sitting in his lounge saying, "Where was this?
What happened? Yeah.
So
Now, Troy, in case you're unaware, every week we select a player of the round. Now, that player actually wins a prize. They get to go to Manoli's Euros Greek shop and get a euro. You'll have to explain it because I'm not Greek.
So he's put up the award. It's called the Manolis Euro and Chips pack. But this week Manolis left with Sashin, the Uber driver, and our
Sashin, the Uber drivers, are around the grounds.
yeah,
guy.
around the grounds guy,
right.
and Adi, and they've gone to America, or specifically Hawaii, for promotion for the pod. So his son Vagelis rang me up, and he said, "Could you call it Vagelis Euro with the extra chips?" And I said to him, "You do realise when your father finds out, he's going to go off his rocker." He goes, "I'll take that risk." So good luck, Vagelis.
Okay.
So
Is he offering the parmesan?
oh yeah. So with the chips, you get extra parmesan.
Okay.
The extra
Interesting.
parmesan. So who would you give the Vagelis
Player of the round
player of
for
the
this
round?
weekend.
Player of the round. Jeez. Oh, look, I'm a bit biased. I'll have to say Gutho.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If he doesn't play, we don't win.
Yeah.
Well, Gutho
Not
has
just
had-
because of the try, but just his presence on the field.
Yeah, I'll go Moses. Same thing. Same thing for me.
yeah. So it's good because because Mitch can pick up Gutho
on the way.
and they can go south.
And Mitch, he's had it a couple of times
He's had
this
it a few
season already,
times,
so he
yeah.
prefers kebabs
yeah, he
because
does
of his
get better.
background.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's starting to
Lebanese,
adjust to
yeah.
the parmesan now, I'm told.
But he
Does
loves the parmesan.
Yeah.
He
Does
loves
it
the
come in a
parmesan.
family pack, does it?
Yeah,
or-
it does. Yeah, if you
Yeah?
want. But
Oh,
this
well,
one, this one is individual. This
Oh,
one. Unfortunately, Vangelis told me who I've got to give it to, Nicola. So I'm sorry.
Who you got?
So I've got no choice. Vangelis said to me, if I don't give it to the future Greek immortal,
He had to buy it.
Ilias, yeah, I know.
He didn't play.
So he told me I've got to give it to.
You know what? He played well enough the week before. That's the best.
Sorry,
Just-
Vangelis, I did it for you, mate.
No Greek bias here, Troy, by
No,
the way.
no, absolutely not.
Just in case you haven't
player
noticed.
of the-
And our friend Adi's produced all this, but
Yeah.
I've done it, Vangelis.
I have heard the buy is pretty tough.
Tough
so,
buy,
yeah, no
yeah.
wonder he got the
Yeah,
player of the
yeah,
round.
he done it hard. Those
There you
forwards,
go.
he's kept on
There you
tackling
go.
those forwards, mate.
Now let's move into our crystal ball segment where we look ahead to round 21. And it starts off with an absolute cracker.
It's not fair. I know all Troy's tips because I had to pod.
We got
That's good. That's good.
we got two teams. We got two teams battling it out for a piece of silverware here. The Dragons and the Tigers.
Spoon ball.
Not,
Yeah,
not,
it's-
not the kind of silverware you'd like.
No.
Talk to me, Troy.
Although when Parramatta wins it, it's like, well, at least we won something. But
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Before you go on, Nick, tell me about all the silverware during the year you win. The Bandage Bear
Well,
Cup.
Troy knows we create trophies. we
yeah,
won one against the
we
Bull.
won.
Yeah.
We won that one.
We
this year.
create trophies. But my highlight of the season,
Yeah.
without a doubt, and you can go back and look this up. Early in the season, the Tigers they had lost their first 5
Yeah.
or 6. The first game they won
Yeah.
was for one of these trophies, right? we all see it, right? Every week someone's playing for something, right? But what absolutely barreled me over was in the post-match press conference, they had it on the desk. That's how you know a club is struggling, right?
Struggling.
They
That's
had
right.
it smack bang in the middle of the desk
Look at this.
between Appy and Sheens
Did they
for the
really?
press conference. I'm like,
Gee.
really? It's your first win in almost 2 months.
Silverware,
But anyway,
Nick, silverware. Gotta go to the club.
I got the Dragons are at home. I'm going to go with the Dragons.
What do you got for me?
same thing as Manly. Dragons play a lot better
Yeah.
down in Wollongong. So
They're $1.65. Tigers are $2.25.
Yeah, in good faith for my mate who sits next to me and he's on a tour of America promoting the pod. In good faith, the Dragons will win and avoid the spoon.
I think the next game could be a real cracker. The Warriors and the Raiders.
Will be.
I was at that game a few weeks back down in Canberra on a Friday night.
How good's the draw?
The Raiders were disappointing.
They play again.
Yeah, Warriors favourites at $1.40. Raiders outsiders at $3. It's in New Zealand. I think I'm going to lean towards the Warriors.
yeah, 2 great games on the Friday. It's
Yeah.
like a fantastic Friday. You got Super Saturday, but this is fantastic Friday. But yeah, the Warriors for me at home. Same as last week. They would probably maybe turn it on, and the Raiders, they'll do it tough over there, and
Yeah.
if they don't get the win, they just want to hope that they don't get flogged by too much because they're for and against.
Don't forget the Warriors spoiled Croker's 300th game. So the Raiders, you know what Ricky Stewart's
got-
like. You
they
might have him
have
up for
over,
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nicola, I believe he will have him up for this. The Raiders know exactly what's coming because they copped it less than a month ago, and in their home ground, at their home ground, Ricky's going to have them up. So the Warriors got to be at their best. But if the Warriors want to do anything, which I believe they will do something, not win the comp, but do something this year, they should beat the Raiders because I'm not convinced of the Raiders. So I would like to see the Warriors win, but never ever
No.
write off a wounded Ricky Stewart.
I mean, I personally want the Warriors to win.
Me
It's no secret because I love watching Ricky's press conferences when they lose. It's just entertainment.
That is,
You know, we sit and watch them.
yeah,
No, it's the
I
best.
think everyone
It's-
does. Yeah.
Watch it. He's just so pissed off. He just doesn't want to be there.
What do you think, mate? What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone
You
asked him a
always have to
question.
go
What do you
there.
think, mate? They're like 2-minute press conferences. When they win, they're 8 or 9 minutes.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Right?
Oh yeah.
Now, the next game could be the game of the season.
Yeah.
Rabbitohs, Broncos both have all their players back. This could be an absolute cracker.
Are they all back? Is everybody back? For
Yeah, Latrell's back. All the Reece Walsh is back. All the
Wow.
all the rep players are all back.
What a game.
Rabbitohs coming off a bye. This could be an absolute cracker. The Rabbitohs are favourites at $1.67. Broncos outsiders at $2.20. I'm gonna go with South at home. And
Yeah, but
Latrell's
this is
gonna
on
have
the
a big
Sunshine
one.
Coast.
Sunshine Coast.
It's on the Sunshine
is it?
Coast.
So
Yes.
what they
It's
did?
in
I don't have the
Queensland.
venues here.
Yeah, what
It's
they
Sunshine
did?
Coast.
Yeah, what they did? They done a Parramatta.
Yeah.
Let's take our home game
Okay.
to
In
Brisbane
in Queensland.
in Queensland.
Against the
Let's-
Broncos.
I don't have the venues in front of me here.
I think they did it because of the Women's World Cup.
They did.
Oh,
they
of
did.
course.
Yeah, because that
okay.
kicks off.
I'm still going to go
Thursday.
South.
Troy,
Yeah, I'm going to go the Broncos.
Yep.
see, I knew what was coming.
Yeah, you did. I'm gonna go the Broncos. I just think Latrell hasn't played since round 12, so he'll be a bit underdone. And funny thing is, it's at the Sunshine Coast Stadium, and the Broncos are training there all week.
Yeah.
Oh,
so-
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not their traditional home ground. It's,
No,
No.
but the game's going to be there, so they're training.
training
up
there.
See,
there.
I think
and-
it's interesting because last year, South, if you remember, they weren't going too well. Latrell was out for a long period. And from the day he came back,
They changed.
Against
they
Parramatta,
flipped
I
the
think.
switch. Yeah, they went to a whole new level. He has that impact on the team.
They've got an interesting 5 weeks or so ahead.
Yeah.
They're playing in Sunshine Coast, Cairns, Perth,
The Rabbitohs.
Tamworth.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
Rabbitohs,
so
yeah.
they've got a
'Cause-
bit of a tour happening.
Because Ace has been used
Yeah,
for the
okay.
girls, so they're going to be homeless for the
You
last
think they
next 5
could
weeks.
move him to Combank or somewhere local rather than sending him all around the country?
It'll be
but anyway.
smarter, and I think Combat gets underused anyway. But yeah, because I think it's probably the
Who are you tipping?
yeah.
George?
You know what? I picked the Rabbitohs to win the comp early in the
Yeah.
year. I love the Broncos, and I can't wait to see Reece because he's back. But I honestly believe Dimitri will have them up and Rabbitohs will win. I honestly believe it. I hope so. In saying that, Brisbane star-studded. Stacked.
Yeah. Well, the next one's interesting because as we mentioned, the Gold Coast, they've lost 2 on the buzzer past 2 weeks. They've been playing really well, and they're outsiders at home against the Roosters. So Titans $2.15, Roosters $1.70. It's at Seabus on the Gold Coast. Based on what and I know obviously Tedesco's back, but I'm going to take a punt and go with the home team here because I haven't seen enough from the Roosters.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Titans as well, being at home. They've played well the last couple of weeks. The
Tino and
Roosters have been-
Fafita, they're both playing for contracts.
Well, Tino's suspended, so he's not playing.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's right. He's
He's
out
not
for 3
playing,
weeks.
so,
Yeah. Forgot about that.
Wrongly again.
Yeah.
Wow,
so,
that changes things for me, I reckon.
Nah, I don't think so. I think the Titans will get the job done, and even though the Roosters have got the wood over the Titans, I think they've won the last 9 out of 10 times they've played.
Yeah.
But I think the Titans will get this one.
I'll stick with them.
Yeah,
pick
look
and
at-
stick.
Yeah.
At home, Nico, I think the Titans will win. They deserve to get 2 points. I think.
Newcastle hosting Melbourne Storm Saturday evening at 5:30. Knights $3.30, Storm $1.34. Can their good form continue at home?
Could be interesting.
I think it'll be a lot closer than people think.
Yeah, it could be interesting. I think the class of the Storm will just take it and beat the Knights, I think.
I think so too.
I
I
think-
agree with you.
I mean, good form. They beat Bulldogs and they beat the Tigers. Storm will absolutely touch them up.
Yeah.
Storm will touch them up.
Saturday night in Townsville, Cowboys $1.42,
Ooh.
Eagles $2.90.
Ooh. Oh, wait a minute. People are out for Eels.
Yeah,
so
obviously
RCG and
Brown,
Martin.
RCG, Sevo.
Shit.
I expect either
So what's
Wagga
the
Blake or actually I haven't seen a team list.
There was
No, I
something.
don't think it's been updated yet.
Okay,
so,
I would expect Blake or Dunster to come in on the wing.
Yeah.
I don't think Greg is back yet.
Nah,
Greg
I
is
think
another
he's
week
about
away.
Yeah, 1 or 2 about. away.
So they'll probably bring Makatoa or someone
So
back in.
the back line's intact. Oh, no, wait a minute.
Ogden could come back in.
The back line's intact.
Um,
yeah, Odin's front row with Hands, Junior, Lane.
It-
You know what? The run-on team's good.
It hurts me to say this, but I think the Cowboys at home, based on their form, and Parra's got a few holes. And let's not forget what happened last time they played there.
prelim final.
Oh, right, yeah.
Moses threw that wonderful pass,
Can I just
facing
say,
in the wrong direction. It's all right.
Can
Went
I-
backwards.
can I just say the run on team for Parramatta isn't bad. It's not a bad.
No, but there's a lot of
team.
strike power missing.
Yeah, no, there is. There's a lot of strike. Of course, there is. But it's not a terrible team. So they'll handle it well. Look at the moment. I think the Cowboys are in absolute sublime form, and I don't expect them losing at home. But you know what, Parramatta, what they do is probably the team that can trouble the Cowboys, because not only they do the little things right, they go through the front door, and they're probably the only team who go through the front door. And a team like Cowboys don't like people coming through the front door. They prefer to try to hit edges. So they'll be interesting. Actually, I can't wait.
Look, I'm going to shock a lot of people here. I'm going to tip the Cowboys.
It's one of
But
those.
see, if
George,
if
they're
they lose,
consolation
then Parramatta
tips. We
wins.
don't mind getting the tip wrong.
Yeah, that's right. If the team
Right? And
wins,
if we
Yeah,
lose,
gotcha.
it's consolation. Unless we've got the
Gotcha.
tip right.
yeah.
Gotcha.
The next one's a rip snorter, George.
Yeah,
I can't remember ever seeing this.
I know.
In Penrith, Panthers Bulldogs.
Yeah, we're gone.
Panthers $1.02, Bulldogs $13.
$2.
$13.
No. Penrith $2.
Yeah.
Gee, I would have been 99 cents.
The Bulldogs
what-
are $13. I don't remember seeing
Not $13.
odds that long. I think
What's the start? 45 and a
Kickout's
half or something?
Kickout's back for the
More.
Bulldogs. Personally, if I was him, I would have pushed it back another week.
Me too.
It's interesting he's coming back against the
Yeah,
Panthers.
yeah.
I wonder why. There's got to be a reason. I'm going to say that I'm going to try to avoid watching this game, Nicola, because I'll probably know by the score what happened. It's going to be a long day, a long afternoon for Canterbury, unfortunately. I hope there's going to be lots of learning for him, because Mr. Popular better learn a lot out of this, because, losing by 50 or 60 really hurts. And Penrith, are they all back? Penrith, look, it'll be good.
Yeah.
It'll be a good
full
at post
strength, I
session.
think.
It'll be
Yeah.
a good
He's
at post
back.
session.
And the Dolphins have the bye this weekend, I think. And closing out the round, we have the Sharks hosting the Sea Eagles. Sharks heavy
Shit, they're all
favourites.
back.
Manly don't have the best of records down at Shark Park.
No,
but
and they're not in the top 8.
Oh,
So I'll comfortably tip the Sharks on this one.
I think Manly could get this one, I think.
I think Sharks are under a bit of
Just
pressure after last
maybe.
week.
But you'd think so. So
You know what? This is a good one, because look who he dropped. Gee,
yeah, Matty Moylan, Wade Graham,
he dropped Finucane.
Wilton's injured.
Did he drop Finucane?
He must be injured or suspended.
He's dropped Moylan and Talakai, right?
Right. Yes. But still, it's Katoa, Raymond, Tracy. It's still not a bad unit. It's not a bad team. This is where the issues are the forwards. Brayley, Rudolph, Nicker. You think no, Finucane's playing. Who's that? Do we know him?
No.
No, he's a youngster.
Yeah.
Okay. Manly will win this, Nicola. I don't trust at the moment. I don't trust the Sharks until I see it, and I know what Manly's going to give me. And they've got a halfback to steer him around the team, and they weren't all that far away last week. I said he wasn't they didn't play well. They probably didn't play well, but they did play the Cowboys.
Could be a flip of the coin.
Yeah.
Yeah. George, you got some tidbits for us?
Let's do tidbits.
Simi Renrandra trying the chip and chase. Oh no, it's Simi Radradra. Radradra's away. Simi Radradra.
Oh, this will be interesting.
Oh yes, it will. Yes.
Semi Rundrundra.
I never say it the same way twice.
Absolutely buried it. Radradra.
Yes, Nicola, as you know, we're following the plight of the world champions, St. Helens. And this week, Catalans came to St. Helens. And actually, it was a good game. Like I said, they don't play well.
Yeah.
They played well this week, but unfortunately, they fell again, 14-12. So there's another loss, but they're playing better. Our team, Nicola, the Lee Leopards.
The
went
ugliest jersey in rugby league.
Yep. The Uglies, but they still keep on winning. And they went to Salford and they won 24-22 again, mate. So we're cooking. I think they're coming second. Huddersfield 34. Nicola beat Wakefield 6. Wigan, which I think is the best team in Super League, 26, and this is a good game. Warrington 12. They've lost 6 on the trot now. Warrington. Yeah. There's trouble in paradise. There's something doing. I'm not sure what's happening, but that's where I saw. That's where I saw Carl Peace-Paul again.
Yeah.
And that's why I had to say something. I don't know. I think he might be a hit in Australia, and he might not. Who knows? Because what I believe the Titans, that hooker the Titans got from, I forget his name, from England. They brought a hooker over. Okay, after 2 weeks they sent him back.
No, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Artie said something about him.
Yeah.
Anyway, you remember the name?
Oh, it's coming to me slowly, I think. But
Don't worry about it. Not important. Leeds 18, Hull KR 19 on the bill, Nicola. Hull FC 36 and Castleford 18. This week is the charity. Their FA Cup. I forget what it's called
Yeah.
now. I can't
Challenge Cup.
That's it. The Challenge Cup semi-finals.
Yeah.
And the Lee Leopards, mate, they're playing St Helens.
That'd be a
right.
doozy.
Yeah, for the right. Unfortunately, it doesn't show it on television.
Really?
It shows the final. Doesn't show the games.
Not even on KO?
And not on KO either. No. You can stream it. You can stream it.
Okay.
I might get up early and watch it. But they're playing for the right to enter the final of the Challenge Cup, and let's cross our fingers.
Yeah.
And their crazy owner is coming to Sydney to see what he can pick up. He's looking for players. So and money's no object for him. He'll pay anything. He doesn't care.
So the Leopards are doing better than the Tigers.
Absolutely, they are. They're coming second. Actually,
It's the jersey.
it must be the jersey. Well, look, the Catalans are coming first. Nico 28, and the Lee Leopards. To your point, Troy, 26. They come in second. You probably know all this.
No,
you follow. You don't follow
I don't
Super
really
League?
follow it a lot.
Yeah, it's just extra
yeah.
rugby league to watch. I
Oh,
love
that's
it.
it. That's it.
Wigan, which again I say that I think is the best team in Super League, 24. St Helens, you know what? They're hanging around like that bubunyata that you got from the 80s, Nicole, 22. And Warrington, just in there, 22. And rounding out the 6, Hull KR, 22. So as you can see, it's a table like ours in the NRL. Very close, very tight. Nico, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, we're going to follow the plight of the Matildas, and I'll tell you why. Recently, someone very close to us passed away, who was a big fan of the Matildas.
Very big, yeah.
And I promised the G-Man that I'll be following the Matildas because I'm not really a soccer man. I don't know if you are.
No, not really.
Not
But
really.
yeah, I'll be.
Nico's a massive. Nico and Nadia, they're massive soccer fans. I'm really not, but this one I'm going to follow them in respect. So I'll be reporting on just them. They're not the favourites, obviously. I think the 6th or 7th favourite.
I don't know.
But look, in saying that, the women have probably got more of a chance to win a World Cup than the men. So let's hope they do well, and I'll be reporting on them weekly, hoping that they do well for Vince.
Yeah.
For Vince.
May he rest in peace.
Yeah. Some good stuff starting on Saturday, mate. The NRLW starting, and the games coming up. The Titans are playing the Cowboys. Nicola, don't know too much about the Cowboys. You got anything for us, Troy? You know any players in the Titans and Cowboys?
They got a few. Shania Power, I think. Kira Dibb, he's gone back up
Cowboys,
there.
yeah.
At the Cowboys.
Dib's actually Dib's outstanding. She was my favourite NRL player until I saw the halfback from Newcastle. But anyway.
Hannah Southwell.
Yeah, Southie, yeah. The Knights, who Southwell plays, are playing the Dragons, Nicola. And the Knights were last year's grand finalists. They've lost a few players, and they lost the Your favourite player?
That's another loss for Parra, wasn't it?
Yeah.
that was
for bringing that
earlier.
one up
Yeah. They
Two on the one day.
Yeah.
They lost your favourite player, Nicola, Millie Boyle.
Yeah.
So there might be a different team. I'm not sure. And you know what? There's something about the Dragons. We'll see the first game how they go. But there's a few players which I like. The Broncos obviously are stacked, but who really is stacked? The Roosters. Oh my God, they're stacked. They're stacked. This will be a good game. And Roosters are the favourites to win the comp. Our team, Nicola, the Eels, and I'll be on their back. It'll probably be one person too many. Interesting to see how they go. You got anything for us,
Kennedy
Troy?
Cherrington's there. Rachel Pearson, new
Pearson's there,
signing. Elsie Albert, front rower.
Yep.
So they got a few there that they lost a lot of players,
Lost a lot of
obviously,
players,
as well.
They got they signed Booker T.
Booker T.
Yeah, the Eels. What's her name?
Elsie.
Is that who I'm
Albert,
talking about?
yeah,
Do you know who
Elsie.
Booker T is?
P&G, front rower.
Yeah. Do you guys know who Booker T is? From the WCW
He's a
wrestling
wrestler.
days?
Yeah, he's a wrestler. Yeah.
Yeah, that's who I thought I was looking at when I saw her.
Yeah, which is
I
she's
wouldn't
not
want
very
to tackle her,
feminine.
but
Yeah.
No,
Nah,
me either.
nah.
No. No way.
And the Sharks, which have actually got a pretty good team, I think, are playing the Raiders. We know too much about the Raiders.
Raiders have
Troy?
got Ruben Wickie's daughter, I think
Oh.
Mackenzie, playing in the centres for them. And,
What a
Okay.
machine he was.
oh, yeah.
He was so good.
Samai Mataufa, former Eels player,
Oh,
down in Canberra as well. So
Okay, interesting. That's good. Well, look, I'll be watching all the other games and I'll be reporting, Nicola, but I'll be more reporting on the Eels than the other teams because that's the team we want to get up. Mate, we always have Troy. We always have a player in review, and this week, in respect of having you as a guest, we're doing your favourite player, Nathan Hindmarsh. Hiney, he was a South Coast junior. He was born and bred in Robertson, Nicola. They brought him up to Fairfield Pats, Fairfield Patrician Brothers, which is a feeder
There we
school. Oh, is that Booker?
That's the new Parramatta player, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Very cool.
Pretty much. The Parramatta brought him up to the Fairfield Patrician Brothers, Nicola, which is a feeder club for Parramatta. He played 330 games. He scored 60 tries. He was first player to make 12,000 tackles.
I think he holds the record still.
He still holds the record,
Yeah.
yeah. Still holds the record. He played 17 times for New South Wales.
Well, some of his teammates argue that half of them were flops.
I don't know. First contact. Anyway, he played 17 games for New South Wales, 23 tests. He was the Dalian back rower of the year 2000, 2001, 4, 5 and 6. International forward of the year, Nicola, 2004. And we're aware of his media career. Now, what I want to do is I want to throw it to you guys because you guys know of him much more. I could write much more about him. But tell me your memories on Nathan Hindmarsh.
For me, it was just that workhorse, work rate. Like what I said before, just never gave up the chase. Interestingly, something that a lot of people tend to forget if they're not Eels fans, probably the first half of his career, he scored a few long-range tries.
That's right.
He had some speed on him too.
Any highlights?
I remember one
in
against the
games?
Broncos at Parramatta Stadium. He scored a long-range try, but he was just Mr. Reliable. You just knew what you were going to get week in, week out. Just he was like a machine. There was one game, there was one Origin game. Him and Craig Fitzgibbon, they made 1,000 tackles between them.
Wow.
I can't remember how many tackles it was, but it was some kind of record. But he was just.
Is there any games you remember the famous victories?
Well, I mean that Broncos one stands out for me, but you're not going to like this, George.
Which
But the 2009 prelim final,
Yes.
we were there.
Yes, we were.
80,000 people. I'm
We
sure
were
you
there.
would have been there as well. at
Actually, I
Homebush.
wasn't at that
Oh, you
game,
weren't,
mate.
no?
No.
Against the Bulldogs.
Mm.
That was a big standout.
Yeah.
For
Troy?
him, yeah.
Troy?
Yeah, just the workhorse ethic. One of the finest memories is his goal kick in his last game off the
I
sand.
was there against the
I was
Dragons.
I was
Yeah.
at that game off the sand, and he said he's mimicking Jamie Soward. when he was taking that kick. But great bloke. I think talking to Brian Smith the other day, he said one of his memories of Nathan was he is only one of the players that he can think of that he played 5 reserve grade games, and then obviously made
Straight in.
first grade.
Straight first grade.
And then even if he did get injured or not, he didn't go back to reserve grade. He comes straight back into
Came straight
first
in,
grade.
yeah.
So
Well, there's some players you don't put through Reggies, yeah.
And he
Yeah.
chased Michael Ennis halfway across the field wanting
That's
to find him,
right.
which is I still don't know what Ennis said to him.
the biggest U-turn you've ever seen. It's like you're
He's just a grub. What do you say? He's just a grub.
Yeah.
A nice grub now. We see what it was just a pretend
I
grub.
love watching him play. I love watching him commentate. Ennis.
So it's fair to say Nathan has enriched both your lives.
Yeah, plenty of.
Yeah, and
it's a
look,
shame
mine
that
too.
it's a
Mine
shame.
too.
You know what? It's a shame that he never won a premiership, and a lot of people joke about it all the time. But you know what? Wayne Pearce, Steve Roach,
Andrew Eddinghouse.
Andrew Eddinghouse.
Tell me how many
Well, I
grand,
could sit here for half an hour and name players that never won a premiership.
how many grand
Wally Lewis,
how many grand finals was he in?
2.
Actually in 2? Yeah, okay, 2.
2001, 2009.
And thank you for that. And the very last thing, and this is something that I've followed, Troy. So you don't have to participate if you don't want. The International Sportswoman of the Year got announced a couple of weeks ago, and I think she's a Polish woman, Bianca Zelzi.
I like her already.
Whatever. Yeah, 2 years ago she was a male.
Okay, I changed my mind.
Yeah, and
I jumped the gun on that one, didn't
Yeah.
yeah.
You just heard Bianca.
I? Polish. How can you go wrong? Right.
2 years ago, she was a male, and this is what we talked about. We started talking about this last year. The NRL hasn't got a stand on they're not transvestites. What are they? Transgenders coming into
Yeah.
and the Olympics say that the science isn't in yet. We're not exactly sure about their levels, if they are stronger.
Put them in a boxing ring and you'll find out whether the science is there or not.
All you told me to keep my eyes open
Yeah.
on this. Well, it looks like the international sports board, by giving her this award, is giving it the green light, and I can understand the NRL being very, very standoffish about this, trying to make the right decision. You suggested this to me, that they haven't got the spine to make a call, so I'll suggest to you, and there is transgender people, ladies, playing in the NRL now. We know that. I'd say there'll be more of them on the back of this decision. I'd say, wrongly or rightly, one day the science will be in. But you told me to keep my eye on it, and I have.
That's for people way smarter and more important than me.
Yes.
To decide on.
Yes,
What
yes.
sport does Bianca play?
I think she's a cross thing athlete. She does a bit of everything. You know, jumping.
Yeah, she's a power lifter.
Probably a powerlifter. She's actually the picture of which I saw, because I noticed it online. She's a tall, thin, woman. You wouldn't know the difference. But what I'm suggesting is that even if they go over, I think levels in their blood, their body, I still think they're stronger, faster. Even a little bit, because rugby league being a power game, if you've got a little bit more power than the other girl, well, you're a better player.
So
And that's all I'm saying.
So just to I suppose cause a little bit of controversy here, we can have someone who changes their sex come in and play against other women, but you can't take peptides because that's an advantage, right?
Well, that's something sharks got to talk to the
Well, I
sharks
mean,
about.
steroids are part of a sex change, aren't they?
Yeah.
Anyway.
But that's reducing things. But look, I don't know. All I'm suggesting is that, and everybody keeps on saying the science isn't in yet. We can't make a decision. The science isn't in yet. Well, when's the science going to come in?
Put them in a boxing ring, you'll find out straight away.
And that's my segment.
All right, well-
I've got to ask. your favorite band or your favorite song?
Favorite band is Cold Chisel.
Okay.
Barnsey.
And yeah. So favorite band Chisel.
Yeah.
Favorite solo Barnsey. Can't go past K-Sun.
Okay.
But that's too popular. Like everyone loves that.
What do you
Australia's
like?
Australia's second national anthem.
Probably. What do you like?
Probably Rising Sun or Standing on the Outside for me. Those two that stand out.
And we have the song of the week as well. And the Wonder Boy, which is gone to work, when he releases the pod tonight, Stand on the Outside will be the song of the week, Nicola. So, and let me tell you, I don't know how many people sit through 2 hours of listening to us, but it's apparently Wonder Boy tells me it's very well received as well.
Good stuff.
The segment, so Standing on the Outside.
Just to throw back to what you mentioned before, we've got the Women's World Cup coming on.
Yes.
Soccer. Shout out to the Italians. They won the under-19s European Championship
The men?
yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, good. Fantastic. Have the girls, the Italian girls made the World Cup?
They're there, but I have no idea about
They're here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
they made the World Cup, but the men's didn't last time.
No, that's right.
But with the European champion the last time and this under-19s team, are they all City R players, by the way?
Well, the under-19s, a lot of
So
them.
not yet. So it's fair to say that Italians' pathways are strong. Maybe
Well, we'll see.
On the improve.
on the improve.
They're the current European champions.
Yeah. And the under-19s as well.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I actually saw that story.
And that wraps up episode 48.
That's a long one, 2 hours.
It was. Like any other week is any different. Every week we say an hour and a half, right?
We come in Troy, an hour and a half.
Yeah.
We can't go over. We're
mate.
not going to do it. And we just keep on talking.
Yeah. Artie, we miss you. We hope you're having a great time. We're lucky enough to have Troy join us.
Thank you
Thanks for
very
joining
much.
us.
Ah,
And,
Artie's having a whale of a time. Sorry.
Yeah.
Artie's having a whale of a time with Manoli and
and
Sachin. So he's having a fun. I have to deal with Vageli here, man.
Troy-
I can't wait till you come back so you can deal with Vageli.
just before we sign off, can you give us another plug about where we can find the Parra Cave podcast?
Yeah, Parra Cave podcast, Apple, Spotify, any other reputable podcast platform. There are small, tiny videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
Nothing major there, but there is some stuff there. But yeah, majority on Spotify and Apple.
Cool. And you got an episode coming up where you're interviewing Brian Smith from
Tomorrow.
Parramatta
Yeah,
Cave.
wait.
tomorrow.
I can't wait for
tomorrow.
that,
I
yeah.
can't wait. Yeah, tomorrow is it off on? Of course, it's on your platform. Yeah, so tomorrow, if any Brian Smith fans or Parramatta fans or even Roosters fans, you must have talked about everything. Get into this guy's
Dragons
podcast.
fans.
Dragons, yeah.
Yeah.
Get in, listen to
Artie
the
will wanna hear
episode. Yeah, well, he loves him. Artie loves
Yeah.
Smithy. Yeah. So get into it because, like I said, Troy's work's outstanding.
And that's it. That wraps us up. So have a great week, everyone, and we'll catch you next week.
Happy rugby league, everybody.
Good night.